Chosen ones, stop what you are doing right now. Because what you are about to hear in the next few minutes is not entertainment. It is not another spiritual video you scroll past and forget. What is coming through this message is a divine interrupt, a signal meant for your eyes and your ears on this exact day. And if you keep listening, you will understand why June 29th and June 30th are unlike anything you have experienced in a very long time. These are not ordinary days. They are not just the last 2 days before a new month begins, the last 2 days of June disappearing into the calendar like every other date that came before. No, something is moving in the heavens over these dates. Something that has been building for months, for some of you even years. And you, the one who found this video today, were not meant to miss it. You were guided here. You were positioned here. You were meant to receive what is being released right now through this transmission. But I need to say something first before anything else, before we go one sentence further. There is a warning embedded in this title, and that warning is not decoration. It is not clickbait. It is a genuine alert delivered from a place of sacred responsibility. Most people who encounter a window like June 29th and 30th will walk through it without knowing it is open. They will spend those 2 days scrolling, sleeping, arguing, worrying, reacting, and the moment will pass. The window will close, and they will spend the next season wondering why nothing shifted, why the breakthrough still has not arrived, why heaven still feels silent. I am here to make sure that is not your story. Not after today, not after this video, not after you understand what I am about to reveal. God said to speak to the ones who are ready. God said to find the chosen ones who have been waiting in the long hallways of unanswered prayer, who have been holding on through a season that stretched far past what they thought they could endure, who are still here, still believing, still pressing forward, even on the days when the faith feels more like grit than grace. If that is you, then this is your moment. And this message was written with your name in mind. Before we go any deeper, I want you to do one simple thing right now. Drop a number 1 in the comments below. Just a 1. Nothing elaborate. If you are one of the chosen ones who feels called to this video, who feels something stirring inside you just from these opening words, who knows in your spirit that you are supposed to be here on this day, drop that 1 right now. Let this platform know. Let heaven record it. Let yourself mark this moment as the one where everything began to change. Do not read past this without doing it. The comment matters. The act matters. The declaration matters. I will be checking those comments throughout this video and responding. Your presence here is sacred. Honor it with one simple act. Drop the number 1 now. Let me tell you what these dates mean. Let me show you what has been hidden in the rhythm of prophetic time that most believers never see because they are looking in the wrong places. And let me walk you through something today, a revelation, a framework, and a discovery that I believe will permanently shift the trajectory of everything you have been believing for. We are going to talk about signs. We are going to talk about interference. We are going to talk about the specific mechanisms that cause chosen ones to miss their divine moments. Not because they lack faith, not because God forgot them, not because their prayer life is insufficient, but because of something far more targeted, something operational, something that once you see it clearly, you cannot unsee. And once you cannot unsee it, it loses all its power over you. By the end of this video, you will know exactly what to do on June 29th and June 30th to position yourself for the breakthrough that heaven has already authorized. You will know why those dates carry what they carry. You will understand the interference patterns that have been working against you. And you will have something specific, something real, something that thousands of people are already using to close the gap between where they are and where they were always meant to be. Stay with me through every part of what I am about to share. Let me ask you something. Have you ever felt it? That unmistakable sensation that something is about to change. You wake up in the morning and the air feels different. There is no visible reason, no announcement, no obvious sign. Just that quiet, persistent hum in the background of your awareness, like a signal trying to break through, like heaven is dialing your number, but something keeps cutting the call before you can hear the full message. Some of you know exactly what I am describing. You have felt it before, maybe multiple times in the last year, maybe in recent weeks. That sacred anticipation, that feeling that a door is about to open, that a prayer is about to be answered, that the long night is giving way to something that looks like dawn. And then the moment would pass, the shift would not fully arrive, and you would be left wondering, searching for an explanation that made sense, trying to reconcile your faith with what felt like another near miss. Was it your faith that failed? Was it something in your prayer life that was insufficient? Was it something you did or did not do at the wrong time? Or was God even listening at all? These are the questions that haunt the chosen ones more than any others. Not the doubters, not the skeptics, but the ones who believe the deepest. Because the deeper the belief, the more devastating the near miss. The more painful the unanswered prayer. The more confusing the long delay, and that confusion, that spiritual disorientation, is exactly where I want to begin. Because the answer to your confusion, the answer to your delay, is not what most churches have told you. It is not more faith. It is not more prayer alone. It is not better behavior. It is something else. And we are going to get there. But first, I need you to see yourself clearly in what I am about to share. Here are 5 signs that tell me you are exactly who this message was designed for. Listen carefully and keep count of how many of these land with precision in your spirit. Sign number 1. You have been in a season of waiting that has lasted longer than you originally expected. When you first received the promise, whether it came through prayer, through a word someone spoke over you, through a dream that felt unmistakably prophetic, you had a sense of timeline in your mind, a rough expectation, and that timeline has long since passed. You started the waiting period with patience and peace, and the quiet confidence of someone who knows it is coming. But the patience has been tested so many times that some days it feels more like stubbornness than faith. You are still holding on, but your hands are tired. Sign number 2. You have experienced what I call the near breakthrough phenomenon. It was right there. The job, the relationship, the financial shift, the health restoration, the reconciliation, the open door. It came so close you could feel it in your body. Conversations started that seemed to be leading somewhere. Circumstances lined up in ways that felt undeniably divine. And then, at the last possible moment, something shifted, something reversed. The door that seemed to be opening swung closed, and you were left standing in the same place, only now with the added weight of one more near miss added to your history. Sign number 3. You carry a knowing. Not arrogance, not presumption. Something deeper and older than either of those. There is something inside you that has always known you were made for more than what you are currently living. A sense of destiny that was placed in you before you were formed, before you had language for it, before the world had a chance to tell you who you were supposed to be. That knowing is still there. It has survived every disappointment, every delay, every season of doubt. But the gap between that knowing and your present reality has become a daily ache. You see where you were meant to be, and you cannot yet see the bridge. Sign number 4. Prayer has felt different lately. Not absent, not dead, but filtered somehow. like you are speaking through layers of interference. The words are right. The intention is right. The frequency of your seeking is right. But something is muffling the connection. Something is cutting into the transmission between your prayer and heaven response. You keep going. You keep seeking. But you cannot shake the feeling that something is in the way. Sign number 5. You are here today. You found this video on this platform on this day with these specific dates in the title. And something in you said yes before your mind had time to analyze whether or not to click. That instinctive yes, that pre-rational pull toward this specific content on this specific day is not an accident. It is not the algorithm. It is a summons, and you answered it. If you recognize yourself in 3 or more of those signs, I need you to do something right now. Type the words, "I am ready," in the comments below. If all 5 of those signs described your exact experience, type "I am ready" and add the number 5. This is not just engagement. This is your declaration. This is the first act of a chosen one who has decided to stop waiting for the window and start walking through it. Now, let me take you into the first of the major revelations I need to share with you today. Because everything else in this message, every principle, every framework, every discovery, it all builds on this one foundational truth. And until you see this clearly, the rest of what I have to say will not land with the weight it needs to land with. There is a pattern I call the false calendar. And it is the first breakthrough beat of this message because it is the thing that is quietly robbing more chosen ones of their divine timing than any other single mechanism operating in their lives right now. The false calendar is not something you chose. You did not decide one day to start measuring God movements using human time structures. It was installed in you gradually, through culture, through school systems, through family, through well-meaning religion that taught you to expect God to act within recognizable frameworks, within the financial quarter, within the tax year, before the deadline, before the situation got worse, before you ran out of time. The false calendar is what happens when a believer, consciously or unconsciously, begins to hold a hidden assumption about divine timing. The assumption sounds like this: if something was promised to me, if I truly received a word from God about my future, it should have arrived by now. The fact that it has not arrived suggests either the promise was not real, or something is wrong with me, or God has changed his mind. One of those 3 conclusions has been living inside many of you for a long time, operating quietly, coloring everything, slowly wearing down the faith that was once so bright and certain. And here is the devastating part of the false calendar pattern. It does not look like unbelief. That is what makes it so difficult to detect and so effective as an enemy of your breakthrough. The person operating under the false calendar is still praying. They are still attending. They are still declaring. They are still showing up. The structure of faith is intact, but the foundation has a hairline fracture. A hidden expectation that has been disappointed so many times that the soul has quietly begun to protect itself from the next disappointment by letting go of the specificity of hope. You stop praying for the specific thing because praying for something specific means setting yourself up for a specific disappointment. You start praying in generalities, in vague spiritual language that cannot really be disappointed because it never fully committed to anything. And that shift from specific faith to protective vagueness is the moment the false calendar has done its worst work. Think about the greatest stories of divine timing in all of sacred history. Not the ones we rush past in Sunday services, the ones we sit with. Joseph received a prophetic dream at 17 years old. The dream was unmistakably divine, crystal clear in its imagery, impossible to misinterpret in its meaning. And then 13 years of slavery, of betrayal, of false accusation, of prison passed before a single element of that dream materialized. 13 years. On ein human calendar, the promise would have been declared void after year 3, after year 5, after year 10. What human being maintains specific, active faith in a promise that has been silent for a decade? Abraham and Sarah received the promise of a son when Abraham was 75 years old. 25 years passed before Isaac was born. 25 years of the false calendar whispering that the window had closed, that they had misheard, that perhaps the promise was symbolic, that maybe God meant something different than what they heard. The disciples watched the risen Christ ascend into heaven with an instruction to wait in Jerusalem 10 days. 10 days of waiting in the upper room with no visible movement, no confirming signs, no indication that anything was happening. The false calendar would have sent most of them home by day 3. By day 7, the logical conclusion would have been that they had misunderstood the assignment. But on day 10, the fire fell, and everything changed. What makes June 29th and 30th different? What makes these specific dates carry the prophetic weight I am telling you they carry? It is not arbitrary. It is not manufactured. These dates represent a convergence, a meeting point of several prophetic streams that have been building simultaneously from different directions. And most chosen ones, even the most spiritually aware, are going to walk through those 2 days without realizing what moved through them, because their calendar is false. Because they are waiting for a feeling they recognize, waiting for a sign that announces itself, waiting for an experience that looks like what they expect breakthrough to look like. And the breakthrough is going to move through those 2 days like light through a room whose curtains they never opened. But not you. Not after this. Not after you understand what I am sharing with you right now, in this moment. I need you to comment below if you have ever felt like your timeline and God timeline were completely misaligned, like you were running on a track that was supposed to intersect with something divine and the intersection never happened at the time or place you expected. Drop the words "off track" in the comments right now. Tell me you feel it, because naming the pattern is the first act of breaking free from it. Something was discovered, a specific method, a specific tool that changes everything about how the human mind receives in alignment with prophetic timing. I am not going to name it yet. I am not going to explain it fully yet, but I want you to hold this question as we move through everything else in this message. What if the gap between your prayer and your answered prayer is not primarily a spiritual gap? What if it is neurological? What if the receiver in your own mind has been miscalibrated? And what if miscalibration can be corrected in minutes, daily, without years of religious effort? I will come back to this. When I do, it will reframe everything that came before it. Hold the question. For now, let us move to the second major revelation. Because the enemy of the chosen one is not passive. He does not simply wait for chosen ones to give up on their own timeline. He actively deploys interference, and he deploys it with timing. This is what I call the distraction deployment, and it is the second breakthrough pattern you must understand before June 29th and 30th arrive. Here is how this operates at a level most believers have never been taught to recognize. In the days immediately preceding a significant prophetic window, not during the window, not after it, but before it, there tends to be a surge of noise in the lives of chosen ones. Drama that appears from nowhere, conflicts that have no clear origin, financial pressure that arrives with suspicious timing, a relationship dynamic that suddenly demands every ounce of emotional energy you have, a health scare, a work emergency. A cascade of small but urgent feeling demands that together function like a wall of sound, specifically engineered to drown out the signal coming from heaven. And here is what makes the distraction deployment so effective against spiritually mature people. The distractions are not obviously evil. They are not temptations you can identify and resist through prayer and scripture. They look like life. They feel like legitimate demands on your time and attention. They carry the disguise of responsibility, of obligation, of things a good person would naturally attend to. And because you are a good person, because you are a responsible human being, because you take your obligations seriously, you attend to them fully, completely, until the window passes. The sophistication of this strategy cannot be overstated. The enemy does not send you something you will clearly refuse. He sends you something that feels like your life, asking for your attention at the exact moment heaven is about to move in your favor. I want to ask you something with complete directness. In the last 3 to 7 days, has something unexpected demanded your attention? Something that felt urgent, that pulled you away from your stillness, from your prayer time, from the quiet seeking that you know is your connection point? Something that just landed in your life like a stone thrown into still water, rippling everything outward, consuming your focus? If the answer is yes, I am not dismissing that thing as unreal. I am not telling you to ignore it. I am inviting you to consider the timing. Is it possible that what arrived in your life this week, the thing that has been the loudest and most demanding presence in your mental landscape, arrived specifically because something significant is about to happen in your favor? Is it possible that the urgency you feel about that distraction is disproportionate to what it actually requires? Is it possible that giving it 100% of your emotional and spiritual energy right now is precisely what would prevent you from being fully present in the window of June 29th and 30th? I want you to comment right now. Tell me what your loudest distraction has been this week. Name it. Type it out in the comments below. I am reading everything. And the act of naming it, the act of bringing it from the inside of your mind into the visible space of this platform, does something to it. It reduces its power. It makes it visible rather than omnipresent. And visibility is the first step toward release. Comment below. Name the distraction. And then keep watching, because we are just now entering the heart of what I have to share with you today. In the next section, I am going to take you into something deeper, something about the architecture of prophetic timing that very few teachers ever explain. Something about what actually determines whether a chosen one breaks through in a prophetic window or misses it. And I am going to show you a pattern that connects the lives of every major biblical figure who received extraordinary breakthrough, and the thing they all shared that most modern believers do not know how to access. This is going to get very specific. This is going to get very real. And by the time I am done, you are going to know things about June 29th and 30th that will make those 2 days feel entirely different than any day you have experienced in a long time. Keep watching, keep your comments coming, and know that you are exactly where you are supposed to be right now. Now, I want to talk to you about something that very few people in the prophetic space ever address openly. And the reason they do not address it is because it is uncomfortable. It requires vulnerability. It requires the teacher to admit something about human beings, about chosen ones specifically, that most of us would rather not examine. The reason most chosen ones miss their prophetic windows is not a character deficiency. It is not a spiritual failure. It is not that God is withholding from them as punishment or as a test of character. The reason most chosen ones miss their windows is that their receiver is broken. Not their faith, not their heart, not their intention, their receiver. The internal mechanism by which divine signal is translated into human understanding, into recognizable guidance, into actionable knowing. That mechanism, for most people, has been compromised. Think about a radio. The signal from the transmitter goes out clearly, cleanly, powerfully, without interruption. But if the receiver in your car has a damaged antenna, if there is interference in the circuitry, if something in the receiver itself is not functioning at the capacity it was designed for, you do not get the signal clearly. You get static. You get partial fragments. You get the sense that something is there, but you cannot quite make it out. Most chosen ones are living with a damaged receiver, and they have been told the problem is with the transmitter. They have been told to pray more, so God will speak louder, to fast, so the channel will open wider, to attend more services, so the signal will strengthen. And these things have value. I am not dismissing them. But if the receiver is compromised, if the internal mechanism that processes divine signal is operating below its designed capacity, no amount of increased transmission power will fully solve the reception problem. And here is what breaks the receiver. Not sin, not insufficient faith, not the wrong denomination or the wrong prayers. The receiver is broken by prolonged stress on the neurological system, by chronic anxiety that has reorganized the brain default patterns towards scanning for threat rather than receiving for opportunity, by years of unresolved disappointment that has trained the nervous system to protect itself from hope rather than remain open to possibility, by the cumulative effect of a world that is moving faster and louder than any human nervous system was designed to process. The receiver has been damaged by life itself, by the experience of being alive in this particular era, in this particular culture, under this particular level of constant information bombardment, and the chosen ones, because they feel everything more deeply, because their sensitivity was designed to receive from heaven, are often the most damaged receivers of all. Because the same sensitivity that allows them to feel the presence of God also makes them more vulnerable to the noise that blocks that presence. I said I would come back to the question I planted earlier. What if the gap between your prayer and your answered prayer is not primarily a spiritual gap? I am ready to tell you more now, not everything yet, but enough to keep this question alive in you. Because what I found, what I discovered through research I did not expect to find, what is already changing the lives of thousands of people in exactly your situation, it addresses the receiver problem directly. Not with more spiritual practice, though spiritual practice still matters, with something specific, something targeted, something that works on the neurological level where the receiver actually lives. A doctor from New York City, a neurologist whose work is grounded in decades of research, including a foundation built on Nobel Prize-winning neuroscience, developed a method that takes 8 minutes a day. 8 minutes. And what it does to the receiver is something that I want you to hear about, not from me, but from the people who have already experienced it, because their words carry a weight that mine cannot. I am going to share those stories before this video is over. And when you hear them, you will understand why I brought this up here, in the middle of a message about prophetic timing and chosen ones, and June 29th and 30th. Hold the question. We will get there. For now, I want to take you into something I have been observing about the chosen ones who actually break through in prophetic windows, who actually receive on the dates that carry divine weight, who actually wake up on the other side of a significant prophetic convergence with their lives visibly transformed rather than wondering what they missed. These people share something, a pattern that is consistent across every story I have examined, every testimony I have heard, every case study I have been privileged to observe. And that pattern is not what most people expect to hear. It is not that they prayed the most. Some of the greatest breakthroughs I have witnessed came to people who were doing less structured religious practice than the people around them who did not break through. It is not that they had the most faith. Faith is the prerequisite, not the differentiator. Nearly everyone in the stories I have studied had faith. What distinguished the ones who broke through is something more specific. They were aligned. Their inside matched their outside. Their nervous system was in a state that was capable of receiving. Their internal receiver was not saturated with the static of chronic anxiety, unresolved fear, and protective emotional walls. They had found a way, intentionally or instinctively, to bring themselves into alignment, into a state where the signal could actually land. This is the piece that most prophetic teaching skips over. We teach faith as if it operates only in the spiritual domain, and the natural, neurological, biological domain is irrelevant to spiritual reception. But what if that separation is artificial? What if the way God most often reaches his chosen ones is through the very neurology he designed them with, through the very brain architecture that was built for this exact kind of receiving? And what if that architecture can be deliberately, intentionally activated? Welcome back. If you are just joining this video, I want you to know that what came before this moment laid a foundation that matters. We talked about the false calendar, the hidden assumption about divine timing that keeps chosen ones trapped in a cycle of near breakthrough and withdrawal. We talked about the distraction deployment, the strategic surge of noise that arrives in the days before prophetic windows open. And we planted a question about the receiver, about the internal mechanism that determines whether divine signal can actually land in your life. We are now entering a section of this message that I want you to receive with your full attention, because what I am about to share is the framework that separates the chosen ones who break through from the ones who perpetually almost break through. And understanding this framework before June 29th and 30th is the difference between walking into those 2 days prepared and walking through them like any other day on the calendar. I call this third major revelation the threshold effect. And it is the most counterintuitive thing I will say in this entire video. So stay with me, even if your mind initially resists what I am about to tell you. The threshold effect describes what happens in the final hours before a genuine prophetic window opens. And what happens is this: everything gets harder, not easier, harder. The pressure increases. The doubt intensifies. The circumstances that were already difficult become more difficult. The voices that whisper that nothing will ever change become louder. The sense of spiritual disconnection that some of you have been carrying for months peaks in the hours immediately before the breakthrough arrives. Most chosen ones interpret this intensification as evidence that the breakthrough is not coming, that they were wrong about the timing, that they misread the signs. And in that misinterpretation, they step back. They lower their expectation. They protect themselves from another disappointment. And they do this at the exact moment when leaning forward with maximum faith and maximum openness would have changed everything. The threshold effect is real. I have seen it in story after story of breakthrough. Joseph was brought before Pharaoh as a prisoner, at his lowest possible social status, covered in the evidence of his failure and his false accusation and his forgotten friendship, the morning before his entire life transformed. The disciples were in their most confused and disorganized state the morning of Pentecost. The pressure was at its peak, the clarity was at its lowest, and then the fire fell. What you feel right now, in the season you are in, especially if the last few days have been more difficult than usual, especially if the pressure has been intensifying rather than releasing, is not evidence that the window is closing. It may be evidence that it is about to open. I want you to comment right now. If you feel like the pressure in your life has been increasing recently rather than decreasing, if things have been getting harder when you expected them to be getting easier, drop the words threshold moment in the comments below. Because what you are describing is a pattern, a recognizable pattern, and recognizing it changes everything about how you respond to it. Now I need to address something directly. Because there are people watching this right now who have been here before, not just in this life circumstance, but specifically in the space of prophetic content, who have watched videos about special dates and divine windows and sacred moments, and they did everything they were told to do, and the date passed, and nothing they could point to visibly shifted. And they are here again today, watching again, but with a layer of protection underneath the curiosity, a shield of earned skepticism, a voice inside that says, yes, but I have heard this before. I want to speak directly to that person right now. I see you. I know you are here, and I am not going to tell you that your previous experience was wrong, or that you missed something, or that you did not try hard enough. I am going to tell you something else entirely. You were not failed by your faith. You were not failed by the prophetic dates. You were failed by an incomplete methodology. You were given the what, the significance of the dates, without the how, the awareness without the activation, the window without the receiver calibration that would allow you to actually step through it. You were told the door was open without being given the key. That changes today. Not because I have more authority than anyone who spoke to you before, but because what I am bringing you today is different in kind, not just in degree. What I am going to share with you before this video is over is not another piece of information to carry with you into the prophetic window. It is the mechanism, the specific operational method that determines whether you walk into those 2 days as a receiver who can actually receive, or as a receiver who is trying to receive, but cannot because something in the instrument has not been activated. The veteran in the room, the person who has been around the prophetic block more times than they can count, needs to hear this with new ears today. Because this time is different. Not because the dates are more special, though they are. Not because the message is more powerful, though it is. But because you now have access to something that did not exist in the same form or with the same accessibility the last time you went through a prophetic window, hoping for a breakthrough. I am going to show you exactly what that is very soon. But first, I want to take you into a vision. I want to walk you through something. Close your eyes if you can do so safely. And if you cannot close them, soften your gaze on something neutral and let what I describe land not just in your mind but in your body. It is July 1st. The morning after. The morning that follows June 29th and June 30th. You woke up this morning in a way that felt different from any other morning in recent memory. Not dramatically different, not a sudden noise or a shaking, but quietly, unmistakably different. The way the light comes through the window feels like something has shifted in the atmosphere of your life. The way the first moment of consciousness arrives feels like stepping into a room where the furniture has been rearranged overnight and everything is exactly where it should have always been. You lie there for a moment before rising, and in that stillness you take inventory, and what you notice is this. Something that was tight inside you has released. Something that was braced, that has been braced for longer than you consciously realized, has unclenched. There is a quality of ease in your body that you had forgotten was even possible. A settling, a rightness, not euphoria, not the temporary high of an emotional experience, something more durable than that. Something that feels like having arrived somewhere you were always moving toward. And then the thought comes, not as a wish or a declaration, but as a simple recognition. Something shifted. Something in those 2 days changed the current. The prayer that has been waiting finds its answer beginning to materialize. The person you have needed to connect with reaches out. The door that has been closed for so long begins to show the first signs of movement. The healing that medicine said was impossible begins doing what the word said it would do. You get up from that bed on the morning of July 1st feeling like a chosen one who finally received what was meant for them. Not because you performed perfectly. Not because you said the right words in the right order at the right time, but because you were positioned, because you prepared your receiver, because you walked into the window knowing it was open, and you walked through it with your arms extended rather than your defenses raised. That morning is 48 hours away. Less now if you are watching this on June 28th or 29th. That morning is right there at the edge of the calendar. And everything I am sharing with you right now is designed to make sure you are ready for it. Comment below and tell me what you see in that vision. Tell me what shifted on the morning of July 1st in your imagination. What was different? What was the first sign? Write it in the comments as if it is already so. Because the act of describing it specifically, of naming the shift before it arrives, is itself an act of prophetic alignment. It is the chosen one speaking into the window before the window opens. Now, we are moving into something I mentioned earlier that I promised to return to, and I need to build a bridge for you carefully, because what I am about to share sounds like it belongs in a different kind of video. It sounds like science in the middle of a spiritual message, but I want to offer you something before you categorize it too quickly. The greatest spiritual advances in human history have often been accompanied by a deeper understanding of how the human being is actually designed to function. The discovery that the body and the soul are not enemies of each other but partners. That what happens in the physical realm of the brain and the nervous system is not separate from spiritual experience but is actually the instrument through which spiritual experience arrives in the human being. There was a discovery. Something that has been working in the background of this message since I first mentioned the receiver problem. Something that I could not fully explain yet because I needed you to understand the problem first. The false calendar, the distraction deployment, the threshold effect, the damaged receiver that has been blocking your reception of divine signal, all of these point to the same underlying issue. The chosen one is spiritually alive and spiritually hungry, but neurologically overwhelmed, neurologically defended, neurologically operating below the capacity that was designed for them. And the discovery I am referring to addresses exactly that issue. Not from a strictly medical or strictly spiritual framework, but from a place where those two realities meet, where the science of how the human brain was designed to function intersects with the prophetic understanding of how a chosen one receives divine guidance. I am going to tell you about something specific in just a little while. I am going to give you the name, the mechanism, the stories of people who have used it, and the path to accessing it yourself. But right now, I want you to feel the weight of the question one more time. What if everything you have believed about why your breakthrough has been delayed, everything you have concluded about your own spiritual inadequacy or God's selective distribution of favor, what if all of it is based on a misdiagnosis? What if the doctor gave you the wrong explanation for the symptom? And what if the right explanation changes not just your understanding, but your actual capacity to receive what has been waiting for you? That is what we are building toward. That is where this message is going, and we are getting very close. Comment right now if you feel it, if you feel the shift happening inside you just from the building of this message. Drop the words "receiver open" in the comments and let me see you, because I want to know that what I am transmitting is landing, that the signal is getting through, that your receiver is already beginning to recalibrate just from the act of receiving this specific kind of truth in this specific order. We are now approaching something very specific in this message. something that is going to require me to shift the register of what I am sharing with you. We have been building the foundation. We have laid 3 major breakthrough beats. We have addressed the veteran in the room. We have walked through a vision of what July 1st looks and feels like when you are prepared. And now it is time to bring in the evidence. Because prophetic truth without evidence is inspiration. And inspiration, as important as it is not enough for the chosen one who has been inspired before and is waiting to see real results in real life, in the real world. What you need, what you deserve, is something you can verify, something with weight behind it, something that stands on more than intention and poetry. So let me tell you about what happened in 1981, about a piece of research that changed the scientific understanding of the human brain, and about what it means for you on June 29th and 30th. In 1981, a researcher won the Nobel Prize in Physiology and Medicine for work that revealed something extraordinary about how the human brain is structured. His name was Dr. Roger Sperry, and what he discovered, the work that earned the highest scientific honor in the world, was that the human brain operates in 2 distinct modes that are meant to work together but almost never do at full integration in the average modern person. You have heard of left brain and right brain. You have heard that version of the concept in simplified form. But what Sperry actually discovered was far more specific and far more actionable than the popular summary suggests. What he found was that when both hemispheres of the brain are operating in synchronized coordination, the human capacity for insight, for pattern recognition, for the kind of knowing that arrives faster than logic can explain, increases by orders of magnitude that had never been documented before. And when that synchronization is absent, when one hemisphere is dominant and the other is suppressed, which is the default state of nearly every adult living under chronic stress, the human being operates at a fraction of the capacity they were designed for. A fraction of the creativity, a fraction of the problem-solving ability, a fraction of the receptivity to information arriving from sources that fall outside the narrow band of ordinary sensory input. What Sperry called whole brain activation, what his research pointed toward as the optimal state for human functioning. This is not mystical language. This is Nobel Prize-winning neuroscience. This is the most rigorously validated finding about how the human brain works at its highest capacity. And what I want you to understand is what it means for a chosen one who has been praying, who has been believing, who has been seeking divine guidance, but whose receiver has been operating in the fragmented, stressed, one-hemisphere dominant mode that is the default for almost every human being in the modern world. When your brain is fragmented, the signal from heaven arrives, but it cannot be fully decoded. It arrives as vague impressions, as incomplete intuitions, as a feeling that something is trying to break through without the clarity to know what it is or what to do with it. When your brain is whole, when both hemispheres are synchronized and communicating at the level they were designed for, that same signal arrives with clarity, with specificity, with the kind of recognizable divine guidance that you can actually act on, that you can follow with confidence rather than uncertain hoping. This is what has been missing from most prophetic teaching. Not the faith, not the prayer, not the seeking, but the neurological readiness to receive what faith has been accessing. The receiver calibration that makes the difference between a life full of spiritual striving and a life full of actual divine breakthrough. And someone figured out how to do this in 8 minutes a day. Comment below right now and tell me you are still with me. Tell me this is landing. Drop the number 8 in the comments if you want to know more about those 8 minutes. Because what I am about to share in the next section of this video is going to change the way you understand everything that has been happening in your life for the last season. We are getting very close to the heart of this message. Stay with me. The fourth breakthrough beat I need to share with you is called the receiver problem. And it is the concept that ties together everything we have covered so far in this message. Because once you see the receiver problem clearly, you will understand not just why your breakthrough has been delayed, but exactly what has been standing between you and the life you were designed to live. Here is the core of the receiver problem, stated as directly as I can state it. Chosen ones have been taught extensively about transmission and almost nothing about reception. Everything in traditional spiritual formation is about sending. Send more prayer upward. Send more faith outward. Send more declaration into the atmosphere. Declare it, confess it, speak it into existence. These practices have value and I honor them. But they are all fundamentally about the sending side of the divine communication equation. What is almost never taught, what almost no one in the prophetic or spiritual space addresses with the same depth and specificity, is the receiving side. The internal conditions that determine whether what God is transmitting can actually land in the life of the chosen one who is waiting for it. The neurological, emotional, and spiritual state of the receiver that either allows divine signal to come through with clarity or blocks it with the static of chronic stress, unresolved fear, and accumulated disappointment. You have been working on transmission for years, maybe decades, and your transmission has been faithful and consistent and real. But what if the problem was never on the sending end? What if heaven has been speaking to you all along, and the gap was not in God's willingness to transmit, but in your receiver capacity to receive? What if the breakthrough was sent but could not land because the internal instrument that was supposed to receive it had been compromised by the very pressures of the life you have been living? This is the receiver problem, and it is solved not by sending more but by receiving better, not by praying harder but by opening the internal architecture of the human system to the level of reception it was designed for. And this is exactly what the research I am about to describe in full addresses. This is exactly what the 8 minutes a day accomplishes. Not more transmission, better reception. Whole brain activation in the scientific sense that Dr. Roger Sperry documented and was awarded the Nobel Prize for. The synchronization of both hemispheres of the brain into a state of integrated function that allows the kind of knowing, the kind of guidance, the kind of divine signal reception that chosen ones have been praying to experience with more consistency. But before I go into the full details of what this is and how to access it, I want to honor two people, two real human beings with real stories who were in the exact position you are in right now, or close to it, who had the receiver problem, who had been through enough disappointment and delay to develop protective walls around their hope, and who experienced something that I want you to hear directly. The first person I want you to hear about is a woman I will call Lisa. She is a nurse based in California. She has worked in healthcare for many years, which means she lives inside a system that is built entirely on evidence, on what can be measured and verified and proven. Her entire professional framework is empirical. When you work in medicine, you develop a finely tuned antenna for things that do not hold up under scrutiny. She is not someone who falls for things easily. She came to this discovery not because she was spiritually desperate, though she had her own prayers that had gone unanswered for longer than she expected. She came to it because a colleague mentioned it, and she was curious enough to try it with the scientific rigor she brings to everything. 8 minutes, every morning for 2 weeks. That was her experiment. That was her controlled trial on a sample size of 1. What she described after those 2 weeks is worth repeating carefully. She said the quality of her knowing changed, not the volume of her intuitions, but the clarity of them. The specific guidance she had been seeking, the next step in a situation she had been praying about for 3 years, arrived with a precision that she had never experienced before, not dramatically, not with lightning and thunder, with a quiet certainty that she described as knowing the way you know your own name. You do not need to be convinced of something you already know. You just know it. The second person I want you to hear about is a man I will call Matthew. He is a business owner in Texas. His story is different from Lisa in almost every way. He came to this discovery not from curiosity, but from desperation. His business had been struggling for 2 years, not failing completely, but caught in a pattern where every forward step seemed to be met with an equal and opposite reversal. He had prayed about it. He had sought counsel. He had tried every natural solution he could access. And every cycle ended the same way. Progress followed by reversal, hope followed by disappointment. He started using the 8-minute audio method on a Tuesday morning because someone in an online community he trusted mentioned it. He describes what happened in the following 4 weeks as disorienting in the best possible way. Not because everything in his business immediately reversed, though significant things did begin to shift within 2 weeks, but because the way he was thinking changed, the connections he was making changed. The decisions he made from that recalibrated state of mind led to results that he could not have achieved from the state of mind he had been operating from before. He used a phrase that I keep returning to. He said it felt like someone turned the lights on in rooms of his mind that had been dark for years, and decisions that had been impossible, that had felt like trying to navigate a complex space in total darkness, suddenly had enough light to navigate by. 2 people, 2 completely different circumstances, 2 completely different backgrounds and professional frameworks, and a strikingly similar core experience. Something changed in how they were receiving, not what they were praying for, not the intensity of their seeking, the internal state that determined what they were able to access, connect, recognize, and act on. The receiver was repaired, and when the receiver worked, the signal got through. Now, let me tell you exactly what this discovery is. Comment before I go further. Drop the word "ready" in the comments right now if you want to know what I am about to share. If you have been building with me through this entire message, and you feel the weight of what is coming, if you feel the way this has been leading somewhere specific and important and real, drop "ready" in the comments. Let me see how many of you are here with me at this exact point in the message, because what I am about to share next is the most important, practical thing in this entire video. Everything before this was preparation, the foundation, the context, the framework that makes what comes next make sense. And now we are here. There is a moment in every chosen one's journey where they arrive at the edge of something real, not another inspiration, not another word to add to the collection of prophetic words they have received over the years, but something they can actually use, something that addresses the gap with something other than more waiting, more striving, more spiritual effort alone. I believe this is that moment for you. The discovery that Lisa and Matthew and thousands of others before them encountered was created by a neurologist named Dr. Daniel Barone. He is based in New York City. He has spent decades in clinical neurology, which means he has been sitting with human beings at the most vulnerable and difficult points of their lives and asking what is actually happening in the brain during those experiences. What is happening neurologically when someone cannot move forward, when they know what they want and cannot access it, when the gap between intention and result seems impossible to close by effort alone? His work, built on the foundation of Dr. Roger Sperry, Nobel Prize-winning research about whole brain function and hemispheric synchronization, led him to develop something very specific, an 8-minute audio method called the Genius Switch, a targeted neural synchronization approach that uses sound to activate the state of whole brain integration that Sperry documented as the peak of human cognitive and receptive function. Not neural synchronization technology, not ordinary audio, not audio entrainment of any kind. Something different, something based on the specific neurological research about what happens when both hemispheres of the human brain are synchronized and operating as they were designed to operate. Neural sync technology, built on Nobel science, developed over decades of clinical observation and refinement, and you can access it in 8 minutes a day. This is what I have been building toward. This is the discovery behind the question I planted at the beginning of this message. This is the answer to the receiver problem. This is the key that was missing from the prophetic windows that passed before this one. Not more faith, not more prayer. The receiver calibration that allows the faith and the prayer you already have to actually land in your life with the results that your faith has been pointing toward. 18,456 people have already accessed this tool. 18,456 chosen ones who were in exactly the position you are in right now, who had the faith, who had the seeking, who had the prayer, but who were missing the neurological alignment piece that makes all of it operative. And the stories coming back from that community are extraordinary. You have already heard Lisa from California. You have already heard Matthew from Texas. But I want you to hear one more before I tell you how to get this. A woman named Ellie who lives in Manhattan. She had been carrying a specific prayer for 4 years. A prayer about a relationship that had fractured in a way that felt permanent. We have covered a tremendous amount of ground together. And if you have been with me from the beginning of this message, I want to acknowledge something. You did not accidentally end up in a video this long. You did not stumble here by chance and stay through the building of framework after framework because you had nothing better to do. You stayed because something in you recognized that what was being built was built for you, that the architecture of this message had your name in it somewhere, and you were right. What I want to do now, in this section of the message, is bring together everything we have established and show you how it all converges, specifically around June 29th and 30th. How the prophetic timing, the science, the testimonies, and the discovery all point to the same window, the same opportunity, the same 2-day invitation that is sitting right at the edge of your present moment. But first, let me close the loop on something I left deliberately open. I told you about a discovery. I named it. I told you what it does neurologically and what it costs and where to find it. But I did not yet tell you what it feels like to actually use it. And I think you deserve to know that before I go any further. The 8-minute audio experience is not passive listening. It is not background music while you do something else. When you sit down with it, you give it 8 focused minutes. You close your eyes. You allow the neural synchronization technology to begin doing what it was designed to do. And what happens in those 8 minutes, for most people, is something they did not expect, from something that costs $39 and takes less time than most people spend scrolling before they get out of bed. What people describe is a settling, a deepening, a sense of the noise inside the mind, the chatter, the anxiety, the revolving cycle of unresolved thoughts, beginning to quiet not by suppression but by integration, as if the fragmented parts of the mind are coming into conversation with each other, as if the static that had been running at a low frequency in the background of every waking moment is finding resolution. And then, after the 8 minutes, when you return to your day, things that had felt impossible to navigate begin to feel navigable. Problems that had felt like walls begin to reveal openings. Clarity arrives where confusion had been the default, and for those who use it in the days leading up to a prophetic window, like June 29th and 30th, the effect on their ability to receive to recognize divine guidance when it arrives, to act with confidence on the specific direction they have been seeking, is something that very few other practices produce in the same time window. This is what you are getting for $39. This is what 18,456 people are already experiencing. This is the receiver calibration that changes the window from another date to the date. And I want to be very direct with you now. This offer, the $39 price with the 4 free bonuses and the lifetime access and the full money-back guarantee, exists specifically for this window. The normal price is listed at $49, itself already a profound discount from the $500 actual market value. The additional $10 off is not a permanent feature. It is a window within a window, an alignment of access that mirrors the prophetic alignment of the dates themselves. If you are going to act on this, the time is now, not after June 30th passes, not when it feels more convenient. The window and the offer are connected, and chosen ones who understand prophetic timing understand that the right response to an open window is not to wait and see if it stays open. Find the link in the description below or in the pinned comment. Go there now, and then come back to this video because I have more, a great deal more, to share with you before this message is complete. Now, let me build something with you. Let me give you a framework that I want you to carry not just through June 29th and 30th, but through every significant moment that follows. A framework I call the generational window. And this is the 5th breakthrough beat of this message. A generational window is different from an ordinary prophetic moment. Ordinary prophetic moments open and close within a single season. They carry opportunity that is real and significant, but not irreversible. If you miss an ordinary window, another one opens. The principle remains true even if the specific configuration of that particular moment does not repeat. A generational window is different. A generational window is a convergence of multiple streams of divine timing that produces an access point unlike anything that came before it, in the life of the person positioned in it. It is the moment where everything that has been building, every prayer that has been accumulating, every seed of faith that has been planted in the long season of waiting, aligns simultaneously with an open heaven, a responsive field, a supernatural receptivity that amplifies everything you bring to it. Joseph spent 13 years in slavery and prison. His generational window opened on one specific day when Pharaoh had a dream, and no one could interpret it. All 13 years of preparation, of character formation, of painful education in the ways of both earthly power and divine faithfulness, converged on that single morning. And from that morning, everything moved. Not gradually, not incrementally. In a day, Joseph went from prisoner to prime minister. In a day, the entire trajectory of his life realigned with the promise that had been planted in him 26 years earlier. The generational window is not about perfection. Joseph was not perfect in the years before his window. He made mistakes of pride in his youth. He had moments of despair in the prison. He did not handle every challenge with perfect grace, but he was positioned. He maintained his integrity. He kept serving at full capacity, even in circumstances that did not deserve his full capacity. And when his window opened, he was ready to walk through it. June 29th and 30th carry generational window energy for the ones who are watching this message. Not for everyone on the platform. Not for casual seekers who scrolled here accidentally and left after 90 seconds. For the ones who are still here. For the ones who have been building with me through every breakthrough beat, every framework, every vision, every piece of evidence I have offered. You are the ones this window is open for. And what I need you to understand is that your readiness for this window is not determined by your spiritual history or your record of performance over the last season. It is determined by the state you are in when the window opens, which is why the receiver calibration matters so much, which is why this discovery matters in this specific moment, because the state you bring to your generational window determines what you are able to receive through it. Comment below right now if the concept of a generational window resonates with you, if you feel that what I just described matches the internal sense you have been carrying about where you are in your journey. Type the words "my window" in the comments. Let me see you. Let me know you are here and ready. Now, I want to address something I promised earlier. The unworthy voice. The voice that is listening to everything I share in this message and agrees with all of it for other people, but quietly disqualifies you personally. The voice that says this is for chosen ones, but you have done too much, failed too many times, strayed too far, taken too long to arrive. That the prophetic timing window is for people who have maintained their walk with more consistency than you have. That your particular history places you in a different category from the ones God is calling forward in this season. I need you to hear this directly and clearly. That voice is not discernment. That voice is not conviction leading to course correction. That voice is the most effective weapon in the arsenal of the enemy against the most powerful potential chosen ones. Because the ones who have the deepest sense of unworthiness are often the ones with the most profound calling. Because the ache of feeling disqualified often accompanies the very appointment that God intends to validate in this exact season. Every major figure in sacred history who carried a generational window also carried a profound sense of unworthiness when the window approached. Moses said he could not speak. Gideon said he was from the weakest clan and the least of his family. Jeremiah said he was only a child. Paul described himself as the least of the apostles, as one born out of due time. The unworthiness is not a disqualifier. It is almost a prerequisite. It is the evidence that the calling is real and that human strength alone was never the source of it. If you feel unworthy of what I have been describing in this message, if the voice of disqualification has been running parallel to the message the entire time, I want to invite you to make a choice right now. Not to silence the voice by arguing with it, not to produce a counter-argument from your own spiritual record, but to submit it, to bring it into the window along with everything else you are carrying, and let the divine timing of this moment do what it was sent to do. You do not have to arrive at this window perfect, you just have to arrive. Comment below. Tell me what the unworthy voice has been saying to you as you watch this video. Name it in the comments, because naming it breaks its power. And because someone else watching this video right now, someone who has been carrying the exact same voice in the exact same tone, needs to see that they are not alone in this. Now, let me take you deeper into what is available on the other side of June 29th and 30th for the chosen ones who enter this window properly prepared. Let me give you something I call the alignment principle. This is not a separate breakthrough beat, but an expansion of everything we have already established. A deepening of the framework that makes the mechanics of prophetic receiving visible in a way that most teaching never articulates. Alignment is not agreement with what God is doing. Agreement is the beginning. Alignment is a fuller state than agreement. You can agree that God has a plan for your life while your internal system is running in opposition to that plan. You can confess alignment while your nervous system, your thought patterns, your habitual emotional responses are all pulling in a different direction. True alignment is when what you believe and what your body, your mind, your neurological system are all doing match. When your confession and your internal state are not in conflict with each other, when the faith you hold in your spirit and the signals your brain is generating are oriented in the same direction. This is what the genius switch produces, not belief, You already have belief, not faith. You already have faith, alignment. The neurological state that allows what you believe to translate into what you receive. The integration of the whole system, spiritual, mental, neurological, into a coherent receiving instrument. And I want you to understand why this matters specifically for the dates of June 29th and 30th, rather than just in general. Prophetic windows are not like everyday spiritual experience. Everyday spiritual experience flows to us at the level our receiver is operating at, whatever that level might be. Most of us have learned to function on lower reception, to catch what we can and work with it, and trust that it is enough. But a prophetic window, especially a generational window of the kind I have been describing, carries a density of divine signal that is far greater than the ordinary spiritual background. It is like the difference between receiving a signal that is gently present at all times and receiving a signal that is arriving with full transmission power for a limited period. And that increased intensity, that density of available divine guidance and opportunity and blessing, requires a corresponding increase in the receiver capacity to actually be accessible rather than overwhelming. A radio that functions adequately at low signal strength may distort or fail entirely when the signal becomes very strong. The receiver has to be calibrated for the intensity of what it is meant to receive. This is the moment to calibrate. This is what the 8 minutes does. And the chosen ones who walk into June 29th and 30th with their receivers calibrated will have access to what that window carries in a way that chosen ones who enter it in their default unaligned state simply will not. I want to be honest with you about something. I know that some of you are in genuine financial difficulty right now. I know that $39 is not a trivial amount for everyone watching this, and I want to honor that reality rather than bypass it with spiritual language about abundance and seed faith and trust. Here is what I will say. The guarantee is real. The money-back guarantee is not a marketing technique. It is a genuine promise backed by the confidence of the Creator in what He built. If you access this tool, if you use it as directed for the 8 minutes a day it requires, and you do not experience a meaningful shift in your clarity, your receptivity, your capacity to receive divine guidance, you get every cent back. No questions, no delay. The risk is not on you. The risk is on the product. And for those for whom even $39 with a guarantee is not accessible right now, I want to honor you. Stay in this message. Everything I have shared about the false calendar, the distraction deployment, the threshold effect, the receiver problem, the alignment principle, these frameworks have value that does not depend on accessing the product. Use what you received here today. Let it work in you, and when the moment comes that the financial alignment is there, come back to the link in the description. It will be there. But for those who are in the position to act, who have been feeling the build of this entire message pulling them toward a specific decision, who have felt the yes inside them growing stronger with every section we have moved through together, do not let this moment pass without acting. The window is right there. The offer is right there. The link is in the description and the pinned comment. Go there now. Comment below when you are back. Tell me you went. Tell me you are in. And then stay for everything I still have to share with you, because the next section of this message is going to take you somewhere very specific and very powerful. Now, let me give you a rest point, a moment of stillness in the middle of all that has been shared. Take a breath. A real breath. Slow. Through the nose if you can. Let the breath go all the way down. Feel your body in the chair or wherever you are positioned right now. Feel the weight of your body supported by whatever is beneath you. Feel the solidity of that support. You have received a significant amount of information and framework in this message. Your mind has been working. Your spirit has been engaging. and the body deserves a moment of acknowledgement before we continue. Here is what I want you to sit with for just a few seconds before we go deeper. Everything that was planted in this message, every seed of framework and understanding and revelation, is already working in you. You do not have to hold it consciously. You do not have to take notes and organize it and memorize it to benefit from it. Trust that what landed is landing. Trust that the work of understanding is already underway, even in the parts of you that are below conscious awareness. Now, let me continue, because we have more to go, and what comes next in this message is something I have been saving, a specific piece of the June 29th and 30th revelation that I have not yet shared. And when you hear it, you will understand why I saved it for this point in the message. The thing I have been building toward, the thing that I believe distinguishes what is available on these specific dates from what is available on an ordinary calendar date, is something I call the synchronization window. It is a concept that exists at the intersection of prophetic understanding and what we now know about how the brain functions at its highest capacity. Think about what synchronization means in its most basic sense. Two things moving together, two rhythms aligning, two signals coming into phase with each other. When two signals are out of phase, they interfere with each other. They produce noise, static, the kind of signal degradation that makes the receiver unable to clearly decode what is being transmitted. When two signals come into perfect phase alignment, they amplify each other. The combined signal is stronger than either signal alone. This is what a prophetic window does at the spiritual level. When heaven moves with a specific intention over a specific set of dates, and when the chosen one on the earth side of that equation is operating in a state of alignment, the two signals come into phase. And what was previously just receiving at some level of clarity becomes receiving at amplified clarity. The still, small voice becomes unmistakably clear. The guidance that was fuzzy at the edges becomes precise. The knowing that was more feeling than direction becomes actionable, specific, step-by-step instruction. This is what is available on June 29th and 30th. Not just blessing in a general sense, not just an open heaven that maybe some of it will fall on you, if you are lucky. A specific synchronization between a divine frequency and a calibrated receiver that produces an experience of clarity, guidance, and accelerated breakthrough that the chosen ones who have been through a version of this before describe as unlike anything else in their spiritual lives. This is worth preparing for. This is worth the 8 minutes. This is worth the $39. This is worth every comment you have dropped in this message, every declaration you have made, every moment of engagement with what I have been sharing. Are you with me? Comment below. Tell me you understand what I am describing. Tell me you feel it. Drop the words "in sync" in the comments and let me know the synchronization is already beginning. We are going to keep going. And what comes next is going to take you into the specific teaching module that I believe is the most practically transformative part of this entire message, something I call the prophetic positioning framework. And it is going to give you something specific to do in the 24 to 48 hours before June 29th opens, and in the 2 days of the window itself. Something that will maximize your synchronization, your alignment, and your capacity to receive everything that heaven has authorized for this season of your life. Keep watching. The prophetic positioning framework has 3 components. I am going to give you each component with enough specificity that you can actually use it, not conceptual descriptions that sound profound but leave you without action. Actual, specific practices that align with what we know both prophetically and neurologically about how breakthrough is received. Component 1. I call it the silence protocol. In the 24 hours before a prophetic window, reduce your consumption of noise, not completely eliminate it if your life does not permit that, but consciously, deliberately reduce it. Less social media, less news, less of anything that is designed to agitate, alarm, or activate the threat detection system of your brain. More silence, more stillness, more of the internal quiet that allows the signal to be heard above the noise. This is not a spiritual discipline in the old-fashioned sense. It is neurological preparation. When the brain has been marinating in continuous input and stimulation, it takes time to downshift to a state where subtle signal can be detected. The silence protocol creates the neurological space that prophetic receiving requires. Most chosen ones try to receive in the middle of full noise saturation. They wonder why the guidance is not clear. The clarity was there, but the noise was louder. Component 2, the declaration practice. In the hours before June 29th, and during both days of the window, speak aloud what you are believing for, not in a formulaic way, not in the language of rote religious performance. In the language of a chosen one who actually believes what they are saying. Speak to your situation the way you would speak to a person you fully trusted to act on what you said, with calm authority, with clear specificity, without the qualifying voice that hedges the declaration with maybe, or I hope so, or if it is your will. The act of specific, authoritative declaration does something at the neurological level that silent prayer alone does not. It activates the frontal lobes. It engages the language centers in coordination with the intention centers. It creates a whole brain activation loop that reinforces the alignment state we have been building toward. You are not declaring to make God act. You are declaring to make yourself fully present in the act of believing, to align your whole system with what your faith is already holding. Component 3, the expectation hold. This is the hardest of the three for most chosen ones because it requires sustained vulnerability. The expectation hold means entering June 29th and 30th with your hands genuinely, actually open, not defensively closed in the posture of someone who is trying not to be disappointed again, not guarded in the way of someone who has learned not to expect too specifically, because specific expectation leads to specific disappointment. Open, truly open, with the vulnerability of a person who has decided to take the risk of expecting something specific to happen in a specific window. Who has decided that the cost of being wrong one more time is less than the cost of remaining protected in a way that makes receiving impossible. This is the expectation hold, and it is the component that requires the most courage, because it means being willing to be the person who expected and received, not just the person who prayed and waited. I know that costs something for many of you. I know the history of disappointment that makes genuine open expectation feel dangerous, and I honor that history. But I also know what is on the other side of the expectation hold. And what is on the other side is worth the risk of the hold. Comment below. Tell me which of the three components is the hardest for you personally: the silence protocol, the declaration practice, or the expectation hold. Your answer is your assignment. Your answer is the thing you most need to pay attention to in the next 48 hours. And as you go through those practices, as you walk into June 29th and 30th with the receiver calibrated and the framework in place, let the daily neural synchronization be the foundation of the receiver calibration. 8 minutes in the morning before the day begins. 8 minutes of neural synchronization to set the baseline for your receiving, so that the silence protocol, the declaration practice, and the expectation hold are all building on a receiver that is already functioning at its designed capacity. This is the full picture. This is the complete approach. This is what positions a chosen one to walk through a generational window and come out the other side with the breakthrough that has been written for them since before they were born. Comment below right now if you are committing to walking into June 29th and 30th with the prophetic positioning framework and the receiver calibrated by the synchronization method. Type the words "I am positioned" in the comments, because the declaration matters. Because naming the commitment in this space, in this community, in the presence of everyone else watching this message, is itself an act of alignment. You are not alone in this. Thousands of chosen ones are receiving this exact message right now. Some of them are watching from circumstances very similar to yours. Some of them are carrying prayers that sound like the ones you carry. And all of them are entering the same prophetic window. What they do with it depends on how they prepare. And they are preparing right now, with you. Now let me take you into something very specific about what happens on the other side. Not the vision of July 1st that I gave you earlier, though that vision holds, but something more granular, more detailed, more specific about the categories of life where the generational window tends to produce the most significant and most visible results for chosen ones who walk through it properly prepared. The first category where generational windows tend to produce visible results is what I call the clarity shift. Before the window, many chosen ones are operating in a fog, not of ignorance but of unresolved multiplicity. They know several things they could do, several directions they could move, several prayers they could prioritize. But the clarity about which specific thing, which specific direction, which specific prayer is the one to press into right now has been elusive. The window often produces a clarity shift. Not all the answers, the next step, the specific next step, stated so clearly internally that there is no longer room for confusion about what to do next. The second category is what I call the connection activation. Prophetic windows have a pattern of producing unexpected, meaningful connections. The right person arrives. An introduction happens that would not have happened under ordinary circumstances. A relationship that had been dormant reactivates. A door in the human relational landscape opens that required divine orchestration to open. And what has been waiting in the spiritual realm begins to express itself through the physical realm of human relationship and encounter. The third category is the most sensitive to discuss, but also one of the most common in the testimonies of chosen ones who have walked through generational windows. We are now in the deepest part of this message. And I want you to know that what I am about to share has never been said exactly this way in any message I have given before. What I am building in this section is specific to this window, to these dates, to the particular configuration of what is available for chosen ones right now on June 29th and 30th. Let me begin with a principle I call the alignment principle. And I know I have used the word alignment throughout this message, but what I want to give you now is something more precise, more operational. The version of alignment that is not a feeling but a practice, not a state you hope to stumble into but a condition you deliberately create. The alignment principle states this: what you are aligned with is what you receive from, not what you hope for, not what you pray toward. What you are actually aligned with at the level of your daily operating state, your habitual thought patterns, your neurological default, is what determines the quality and consistency of what you receive. Most chosen ones are aligned primarily with their problems. Not because they want to be, not because they have chosen that alignment consciously, but because the problems are the loudest presence in their daily experience. The financial pressure is louder than the promise. The health concern is louder than the healing. The relational pain is louder than the restoration that has been decreed. And so the receiver, by default, is tuned to the frequency of the problem rather than the frequency of the solution that has already been released. The alignment principle means deliberately, consistently, daily choosing to retune the receiver. to spend more conscious time in the frequency of the promised reality than in the frequency of the present problem. Not denial, not pretending the problem does not exist, but prioritizing the signal of the solution over the noise of the problem until the receiver shifts its default toward what has been decreed rather than what currently is. This is the practice, and what you need to know is that it takes far less time and far less effort than most people assume when the right tool is supporting the practice. When 8 minutes of neural synchronization each morning is establishing the baseline state for the day, the retuning happens faster, holds longer, and requires less conscious effort to maintain. Because the receiver is already operating from a higher baseline. I want to drop something in the comment space right now for you. This is not a question. This is an invitation. Comment below with the declaration that your receiver is retuning right now, in this moment. As you receive this message, the act of declaring it is the act of initiating it. Type the words, "My receiver is tuning," in the comments, and let that declaration be the signal that the alignment practice has begun. Now let me take you to someone who understood the alignment principle before the neuroscience existed to explain it. Someone who modeled prophetic alignment in a way that has never been surpassed in the entire sacred record. His name was Joseph, and I want to revisit his story now, not to repeat what I said earlier, but to go deeper into a specific aspect of his experience that most teachers skip over because it is uncomfortable. Joseph spent 13 years in conditions that were designed to destroy alignment. Slavery is designed to destroy alignment. It is a system built on the premise that the enslaved person has no legitimate expectation of better, that their alignment should be with their captivity rather than with any future that transcends it. Prison compounds this. Prison is the complete removal of visible evidence that any future other than the present one is real or accessible. And yet, in the record of Joseph in those 13 years, there is a consistent pattern that historians and theologians both have noted without always naming it clearly. Joseph served at full capacity in every circumstance he was placed in. He did not match the environment with diminished effort. He brought his complete self, his complete alignment with his designed capacity to every role, regardless of how radically beneath his destiny that role appeared to be. In Potiphar's house, he became the most trusted servant. In prison, he became the most trusted prisoner. The quality of his alignment with excellence did not depend on whether the environment deserved his excellence. And when his generational window opened, when Pharaoh called for him in the crisis of the dream, Joseph stepped into the greatest platform of his life, with an authority and wisdom that had been developed through 13 years of maintaining alignment in conditions that gave alignment nothing to justify itself on. This is the pattern of the chosen one, who actually breaks through a generational window. Not the one who performed best in the comfortable seasons, not the one who maintained perfect spiritual discipline when conditions were easy, the one who kept their alignment intact in the prison, who kept serving at full capacity when the environment gave them every reason to disengage, who kept their receiver calibrated even when what the receiver was picking up was silence and hardship and apparent delay. That is who is in this window. That is you. You are not here because your path has been smooth and your obedience has been consistent and your faith has never wavered. You are here because you have been in the prison, because you have been in the slavery of circumstances that did not deserve your full self, and you gave it anyway. Because you have maintained enough alignment through enough difficulty that when the generational window opened, you were still standing. And now the window is open, and what comes next for you has the weight of everything you maintained in the years it stayed closed. Comment below right now. Tell me how long your prison season has been, not because I need to know, but because saying it out loud in this space is an act of release. How long have you been in the circumstance that does not deserve your full capacity? How long have you been serving with your whole self in an environment that does not yet reflect your destiny? Type it in the comments, and let this community stand with you in the weight of it. Now, something else is available in this window that I have not named directly yet, and I believe it is one of the most practically significant things I will say in this entire message. I said earlier in this video that what is available in a generational window is not just blessing in a general sense, not just an open heaven hoping that some of it falls on you. I said it was specific. I want to give you the specificity now. For the chosen ones who enter June 29th and 30th with their receivers calibrated and their alignment active, what is available is what I call the silent accumulation release. This is the sixth breakthrough beat of this message, and it is the one that addresses something very specific about your history. The silent accumulation is what has been happening in the invisible realm during every season of your waiting. Every prayer you prayed that did not receive a visible answer was not wasted. Every seed of faith you planted in the long fallow season did not disappear. Every act of integrity you maintained in the prison, every moment of service you gave at full capacity in circumstances that did not deserve it, every time you chose alignment over cynicism, faith over evidence, perseverance over self-protection, something was accumulating. In the natural world, you cannot see accumulation that happens underground. The seed planted in January is invisible through the entire winter. The ground looks exactly the same in February as it did in November. The observer who did not know a seed had been planted would conclude from all available evidence that nothing is happening, that the ground is barren, that the season is dead. But underground, invisible to natural observation, the root system is developing. The preparation for what will eventually break the surface is underway. The silent accumulation release is what happens when the generational window opens over a chosen one who has been faithful in the underground season. Everything that accumulated, everything that was building invisibly in the long winter of waiting, comes up simultaneously. Not in the slow, barely visible increments of ordinary growth, in the sudden, unmistakable emergence of something that has been ready for longer than anyone, including the chosen one themselves, knew. This is what Joseph experienced on the morning of his generational window, 13 years of silent accumulation releasing in a single day. The wisdom, the authority, the administrative gifting, the divine alignment, all of it that had been developing in the underground of slavery and prison, expressing itself simultaneously in the moment the window opened. This is what is available for you on June 29th and 30th. The silent accumulation release. Everything you have been faithful in that has not yet produced visible results. Everything you have cultivated in the underground seasons. All of it ready to come up. All of it waiting for the generational window to authorize its emergence. And I want to be very clear about the relationship between the silent accumulation release and having a calibrated receiver. The release is coming. The accumulation is real. Heaven does not waste a single act of faithfulness from a chosen one in a long season of preparation. Every seed is accounted for. Every prayer is held. Every act of aligned integrity is recorded. But the chosen one whose receiver is calibrated will recognize the release when it comes. They will have the eyes to see the chariots in the hills. They will have the clarity to act on the specific guidance that arrives. They will have the neurological integration to process what is happening and respond to it rather than being overwhelmed by it or missing it in the noise of ordinary life. The release is coming. The calibrated receiver is what allows you to receive it. Comment below. Tell me what has been accumulating silently in your life. What seeds of faithfulness have you planted in seasons that have not yet produced visible harvest? What prayers, what acts of obedience, what moments of maintained alignment in difficult circumstances are part of your silent accumulation. Name them. Let this community see them. Because what you name in faith before the window opens is what you are declaring yourself ready to receive when it does. Now I want to do something that I find more important than any teaching I can give you. I want to show you a light, not literally, but I want to walk you through a practice that engages the whole system in a way that teaching alone cannot. Find a comfortable position right now. If you are driving or operating anything that requires your full attention, please do not close your eyes. But if you can give your body permission to settle for the next few minutes, let it settle. Bring your attention to your breathing, not to control it, just to notice it, the rhythm of it, the automatic, faithful work your body has been doing without any direction from your conscious mind. Breath in, breath out. Without your instruction, without your effort. The body knows how to sustain itself. The body was designed for self-renewal. Now I want you to bring your attention to a specific part of your physical body, the center of your chest. Not your heart as a metaphor, your actual physical chest. Notice what you feel there, whether it is tension or ease, tightness or openness, weight or lightness. For most chosen ones in a long season of waiting, the chest carries tension, a protective bracing against more disappointment, a subtle but persistent armor, not because you chose it, because pain taught you to wear it. I want you to place your full attention on that area for just a moment, and as you breathe, with each exhale, imagine the protection loosening by the smallest possible increment, not all at once, not dramatically, just the smallest opening. A hairline of space in the armor. That hairline of space is where June 29th and 30th enter. Not through force, not through your effort, through the smallest opening of the expectation hold, through the tiniest permission for what was promised to actually arrive. You do not need to force anything. You do not need to perform. The breakthrough does not require your straining, it requires your opening. And the smallest opening is enough for heaven to work through. Stay with that breath for one more moment, and then let your attention come back to this message, because what comes next is important, and you will want to be fully present for it. Welcome back. I want to point you to something in the description of this video right now, not away from the message, but with full intention. If you have not yet visited the link for this discovery, I want to invite you to do it now, before we go further, because what I am about to share in the next section of this message builds on the foundation of having made that decision. And the people who make the decision before they hear what comes next will have a different experience of what comes next than the people who are still deciding. The link is in the description below and in the pinned comment. $39, 4 free bonuses, full money-back guarantee, lifetime access. A product built on Nobel Prize-winning neuroscience, developed by a New York City neurologist. 8 minutes a day. If you are going there, go now. Comment when you are back, and then stay, because the next section of this video is the part I have been most looking forward to sharing with you. You are in the right place. You are at the right moment. And what comes next is going to take everything we have built and lift it higher than any point we have reached so far. Now let me share a vision with you, the second vision in this message, and this one is more specific than the first, more detailed, more personal to the specific categories of life where chosen ones in this season have been waiting the longest. I want you to see yourself 3 months from now, not in some distant, abstract future. 3 months, September, the early days of fall. You are in the same physical environment you are in today. The same body, the same relationships, the same general context of your life. But something is unmistakably different. The difference is not primarily external. It is internal first and external as a consequence. What you notice first is the quality of your own mind, the way it moves, the way it generates solutions rather than circling problems, the way ideas arrive with a clarity and a specificity that you had forgotten was possible for you, the way you wake up with a sense of direction rather than a sense of dread, the way decisions that used to require enormous effort now arrive with a quality of knowing that makes the decision feel less like choosing and more like recognizing. This is what neural synchronization does when practiced consistently over a period of weeks. This is what whole brain activation looks like when it becomes the baseline of daily operation rather than a rare peak experience. The mind begins to function at the level it was designed to function at. And when the mind is functioning at its designed level, the life it is directing begins to reflect that level. So 3 months from now, you wake up on an early September morning, and as you lie in bed before rising, you take the same inventory you did in the July 1st vision. And what you find there is remarkable. Because what started shifting on June 29th and 30th, the clarity shift, the connection activation, the breakthrough release, has been building. The clarity that arrived in the window has been expressing itself in specific, visible results. The connection that was activated has been developing into something real and significant. The breakthrough that was released has been unfolding in your life in ways that you can see and touch and show people. Someone you know, someone who has watched you from a distance through the long season of waiting, says something to you in September that you will never forget. They say, "You look different," not just happier, different, like something fundamental has shifted in who you are and how you are operating. And you will know what shifted. You will know the morning it began. You will know what positioned you for it. This is available. This is real. This is the trajectory that opens on June 29th and 30th for chosen ones who enter the window prepared and aligned. Now, I want to come back to something practical, something I promised earlier in this message when I was building the case for the receiver problem. I said that the gap between the prayer and the answered prayer is not primarily a spiritual gap. And I want to deepen that claim now with something very specific. The gap is neurological, not exclusively, but significantly. The gap is, in large part, the difference between a brain that is operating in synchronized whole brain function and a brain that is operating in the fragmented, one hemisphere dominant state that is the default for most modern human beings under chronic stress. When the brain is fragmented, the chosen one has access to some of what they need. They can function, they can pray, they can believe, they can even receive intermittently. But they cannot receive consistently. They cannot receive at the level that a generational window carries. They cannot decode the density of divine signal that is present in a moment like June 29th and 30th. When the brain is synchronized, when whole brain activation is the operating state, the same chosen one, with the same faith and the same prayers and the same spiritual history, has access to an entirely different level of reception. The signal that was previously arriving as impressions and vague feelings arrives as clear guidance. The direction that was previously fuzzy becomes specific. The knowing that was previously uncertain becomes the kind of certain that you can act on with confidence. This is the difference that 8 minutes a day makes. This is the science beneath the spirituality. This is the mechanism that Dr. Daniel Barone spent decades developing and refining based on the foundation of Dr. Roger Sperry Nobel Prize research. And this is what is available to you right now for $39 before June 29th opens. I want you to hold something as you continue watching this message. A question. What if the single most important thing you do in preparation for June 29th and 30th is not more prayer, not more fasting, not more declaration? What if the single most important preparation is calibrating the instrument that determines whether everything you have been praying and fasting and declaring can actually land in your life with the impact it was intended to have. What if the 8 minutes is the key that unlocks the door that everything else has been knocking on for the last several years? I believe that is true. I believe it with the same confidence that I believe the things I know most deeply. And I believe it because I have seen it too many times, in too many different people, in too many different circumstances, to treat it as a coincidence or a trend. Comment below. Whatever question, whatever thought, whatever sense of recognition or resistance you are feeling right now, put it in the comments, because your comment in this moment is part of your process, part of your alignment, part of the preparation for the window that is right at the threshold. We have a few more significant things to share before this message reaches its close. And what comes next, I promise you, is worth every minute you have invested in staying through the full length of what we have built together today. Stay with me. Let me now address something that I think is one of the most important, unspoken dynamics in this entire space. The thing that happens not in the spiritual or the neurological realm, but in the relational one. The way that prophetic breakthrough affects the people around the chosen one. Because here is something that very few prophetic teachers discuss with honesty. When a chosen one begins to receive at the level they were designed for, when the long season of waiting gives way to the generational window breakthrough, the people around them do not all celebrate. Some do. Some of the people in your life have been praying with you and waiting with you and will genuinely rejoice when the shift happens. But some will not. Some will experience confusion. Some will experience their own version of the unworthy voice, amplified by your breakthrough. And some will move toward distance rather than toward celebration. This is not a reason to delay your breakthrough or to stay smaller than you are meant to be. But it is worth naming before it happens, so that when it happens, you are not surprised, so that you are not derailed by the response of people who were not prepared for what God prepared for you. The chosen one who breaks through a generational window needs a community of other chosen ones who understand the language of prophetic timing and divine breakthrough. Not because ordinary relationships are insufficient, but because what you are entering is specific enough and significant enough that it requires people around you who have the vocabulary for it. This is part of why the comment section of this video matters to me in a specific way. Not as engagement for the algorithm, but as the beginning of the formation of a community of chosen ones who found each other on this date, at this window, in this specific message. The people dropping comments right now, the people typing their declarations and their struggles and their years of waiting, are your people, your tribe in this season. Reach toward them. Respond to the comments that resonate. Find the person who said the thing you have been afraid to say, because community is not separate from prophetic breakthrough. It is often the vehicle through which breakthrough arrives. Now, let me share something that I want to come back to in the final part of this message, but I want to seed now. A concept I call the synchronization key. The synchronization key is the specific internal action that unlocks the generational window for the individual chosen one, not the dates. The dates are given, not the divine provision that has already been released. The synchronization key is the personal, individual action that brings the chosen one into phase alignment with what is available in the window. For every person, the synchronization key is slightly different. For some, it is the act of forgiveness, a specific person, a specific wound, the internal release of something that has been held in the spiritual fist of the heart. For some, it is the act of declaration, speaking aloud, with full conviction, the promise that faith has been holding silently. For some, it is the act of surrender, not giving up, but the specific surrender of control over how the breakthrough arrives. But for all chosen ones in this season, at this generational window, the synchronization key includes what I have been describing throughout this message. The receiver calibration, the daily 8-minute neural synchronization practice, the whole brain activation that allows everything else, the forgiveness, the declaration, the surrender, to actually land at the level they were designed to function at. You cannot use a key that your hands are too stiff to hold. You cannot receive with a receiver that is not capable of receiving. The synchronization key requires a hand that has been prepared to use it, and that preparation is what the Genius Switch provides. This is the architecture of what I have been building in this entire message. This is why each piece was placed in the order it was placed. This is why we began with the framework and built toward the discovery, and built toward the window, and built toward the specific practice that positions you to walk through the window, receiving rather than walking through it hoping. Everything connects. Everything was intentional, and you received it in the order that was designed for you to receive it. Comment below right now if you have identified your synchronization key, what specific personal action your spirit is directing you toward in addition to the receiver calibration. Share it in the comments. Your specificity is your faith in action, and your faith in action right now, on this side of June 29th, is what positions you on the other side. You are so close. The window is right there. We are going to go through the final section of this message together. And what I have for you in those final moments is something I have been holding in reserve throughout everything we have built. Something that will complete the picture. Something that will give you not just the framework and the discovery and the practice, but the specific energetic sending that I believe will carry you through the window and into the breakthrough that has been written for your life. Stay. We are almost there. Let me share one more thing before we reach the threshold of the final part of this message. A thought about financial and relational breakthrough that I want to be very specific about, because these are the two categories that come up most consistently in the conversations I have with chosen ones who are in the long season of waiting. Financial breakthrough in a generational window does not always look like a sudden windfall. For most of the 18,456 people who have already used this method, the financial shift that followed the neurological calibration was not a lottery win or a miraculous deposit. It was something more sustainable, the clarity of mind that allowed them to see an opportunity they had been looking at without seeing, the decisive action that had been impossible from the fragmented state, but became natural from the synchronized state, the connection that opened a door that had been closed for years, the removal of a mental block that had been keeping them from accessing what was already in reach. We are in the fifth part of this message. And I want to do something different here. Not different from everything we have built, but different in register. Up until now, this message has been primarily teaching and framework and evidence and invitation. What I want to do in this section is shift into something more experiential, more participatory, something that involves not just your listening, but your whole system. But before I get there, I need to address the voice in the room that has been present throughout this entire message, but has not been spoken to directly. The voice of the skeptic, not the casual doubter, not the person who scrolls past spiritual content with mild disinterest. The true skeptic, the person who was once a believer, who carried genuine faith, who perhaps had profound spiritual experiences in their past that they cannot entirely explain away, but who has been burned, who has been given words over them that did not come to pass, who has been told that a specific season or a specific date was going to be the one that changed everything and walked away from it unchanged, who has built around themselves, over years of disappointed faith, a very sophisticated philosophical framework for explaining why the things they wanted most to believe in are not actually reliable. This voice has been running commentary on this entire message, has been noting the emotional manipulation in the urgency language, has been clocking the product offer embedded in the prophetic framework, has been asking the intelligent question about how many times the host of some YouTube video has called a date prophetically significant and been proven wrong without any accountability. I see you. I am not going to dismiss your skepticism. Your skepticism was earned. It cost you something to become as protected as you are. And what it cost you was real. What I want to offer you is not a counter-argument. You have heard the counter-arguments. What I want to offer you is a different question, not whether the dates are real, not whether the framework is valid, not whether the product works. Those questions can be answered empirically, and I have done my best to provide empirical grounding throughout this message. The question I want to offer you is this: what would it cost you to try? Not to believe, though I think belief will follow if you try, but to try. 8 minutes a day for 2 weeks. The length of Lisa Nurse experiment, the length of Matthew business owner trial, a controlled test on a sample size of 1, which is you, in the domain that matters most to you. And at the end of 2 weeks, if your quality of clarity has not measurably improved, if the static in your mind has not measurably reduced, if your capacity to receive the specific kind of guidance you have been searching for has not perceptibly increased, the guarantee is there. The $39 comes back. And your skepticism is vindicated. But what if it works? That is the other side of the question. What if the Nobel Prize-winning neuroscience that this is built on is actually real, in the way that all other Nobel Prize-winning neuroscience is real? What if the thousands of people who have reported the clarity shift and the breakthrough and the release of things that had been stuck for years are not statistical anomalies? What if your brain actually is designed for a level of function it has never been operating at, because no one ever gave you the tool that activates it? What would it cost you to be wrong about the thing that has been protecting you from hoping? That is the question I want to leave with the skeptic, because the cost of being wrong in the direction of trying is $39 and 2 weeks, and the cost of being right in the direction of not trying is another year, another season, another collection of prophetic dates that passed without the breakthrough arriving. Comment below, skeptic. If you are in the room, let me see you. Drop the word skeptic in the comments and stay with this message, because what I am about to share in the next few minutes is specifically for you, is specifically designed to give you something that does not require faith to evaluate, something you can apply the same rigorous framework you apply to everything else. Now, let me take you to another figure from the sacred record whose story speaks directly to the pattern we are in right now, a man named Elijah. Most people know the Elijah story in its most dramatic form: the encounter on Mount Carmel, the fire falling from heaven, the prophets of Baal being defeated. It is a spectacular story, and it is real, and it carries weight. But the part of the Elijah story I want to take you to is the part that comes after Carmel. Because the part that comes after Carmel is the part that most closely mirrors where many chosen ones are right now. After the greatest single moment of divine demonstration in Elijah's prophetic career, after the fire fell and the drought broke and the victory was unmistakable, Elijah sat down under a juniper tree and asked to die. He was exhausted, afraid, running from the same enemy he had just watched God humiliate publicly. The mountain of triumph was followed by the valley of collapse. The blaze of divine demonstration was followed by the deep cold of utter depletion. And what God sent to Elijah in that valley was not a rebuke, not a correction, not a renewed prophetic mandate to get back up and get moving. What God sent was an angel with warm bread and a jar of water. Arise and eat. The journey is too great for you. Arise and eat. Not reproof. Provision. The divine response to the chosen one in collapse was not a more demanding requirement. It was the most basic sustenance. Rest, food, water, the renewal of the physical system before any further assignment. And here is what I want to say to every chosen one in this message who is in their own version of the juniper tree, who is more depleted than they have let on to most of the people around them, who smiles and says they are fine and keeps showing up and keeps serving and keeps maintaining the outer appearance of someone who is doing well, while inside they are sitting under a juniper tree asking how much longer. God is not asking you to perform your way to the breakthrough. He is asking you to eat the bread that has been sent, to take the sustenance that has been provided, to allow the renewal of the system before the next stage of the journey begins. This neural synchronization tool is not the only provision of that kind, but it is one of them. It is the renewal of the receiver, the bread for the neurological system that has been running on empty for too long. 8 minutes of daily restoration for the instrument that has been working overtime in depleted conditions for a season that has gone on longer than it was supposed to go on. Arise and eat. The journey is too great for you to make in your current state, but it is not too great for you to make in the state you will be in when the renewal takes hold. Comment below right now. Tell me about your juniper tree moment. Tell me when the depletion became real for you, when the performance of being fine became too heavy to maintain in private. This is a safe space. This is a community of chosen ones who recognize each other. And the moment you name the juniper tree is the moment the angel is able to arrive with the bread. I am going to give you something now. A 4-step experience that I want you to move through with me in real time, not as a teaching, not as a concept, as something that happens in your body while I speak. This is the guided mental activation of this message, and I want you to receive it with your full self. Step 1. Find stillness. Wherever you are, let your body come to the most restful position available to it right now. If you are sitting, feel the support beneath you. If you are lying down, feel the surface holding you. If you are standing, let your weight drop into your feet and feel the ground beneath them. This is not a spiritual performance. This is simply the acknowledgement of where you are, right here, right now, in this body, in this moment, before June 29th and 30th open. In the last hours of the preparation season, Step 2, breathe into the promise. Bring to mind the specific thing you are believing for, not in the language of the prayer you have prayed 1,000 times. In the simplest possible language, the single sentence that describes what you have been waiting for. Let that sentence, that specific true thing you are hoping for, be present in your awareness as you take 3 slow, complete breaths, breathing into the reality of the hope, not performing hope, simply being with it, allowing it to be present without needing it to prove itself to you. Step 3, release the how. This is the hardest step for most people, because we have spent so much time imagining how the breakthrough will arrive that the how has become a requirement. We are waiting not just for the thing, but for the specific version of the thing that we have imagined. And sometimes the breakthrough cannot arrive through the path we have prescribed for it, because the path we have prescribed is too narrow for what heaven has actually prepared. Take a breath now and release the how, just the how, not the what. Keep the what, but breathe out every specific requirement about the path it must take. Let the arrival method be God's decision, not yours. This is the expectation hold in its most precise form. Open hands, specific hope, released method. The receiving posture of the chosen one who has learned that the breakthrough is real even when its path is not predictable. Step 4. Receive the now, not the future promise. This present moment, this breath, this video, this community of chosen ones who are in the same experience right now. This transmission that arrived in your feed on this specific day in ways that were not random. The fact that you are here, receiving this, right now, is itself an act of prophetic provision. The chosen one who was meant to receive this message was guided to it before June 29th, so that they could enter June 29th prepared. You are already in the window. The preparation is the beginning of the receiving. What you have received in this message, the frameworks, the invitation, the neurological tool, the community, the guided activation you just moved through, this is not preamble. This is the beginning of what June 29th and 30th are going to complete. Let your eyes come back to the screen. Let your attention return to what I am sharing. And know that what you just experienced in those 4 steps is available to you daily, in a deepened form, every morning, that you begin with 8 minutes of neural synchronization before the day begins. That is what the 8-minute method does for this practice. It sets the baseline for step 1 before step 1 begins. It establishes the stillness not as something you have to will yourself into, but as the natural resting state of a synchronized brain. Comment below. Tell me what you experienced in the 4-step activation. What arose in the stillness? What felt difficult? What felt released? What? Because the conversation in the comments after a practice like that is sacred data about where you are and what is moving in you in preparation for the window. Now, before we move to the final section of this message, I want to offer a second rest point, a moment to let everything settle before the crescendo. Take a breath. Not because you need instruction to breathe, but because a conscious breath in this moment is a deliberate act of participation in your own preparation. You have been with me through a significant amount of content. You have received framework after framework, invitation after invitation. You have been moved through emotions and memories and recognitions and perhaps resistances and perhaps releases. Your system has been working. Give it a moment, just a moment, to integrate, to settle, to allow what has arrived to move from the surface of your attention into the deeper layers where transformation actually takes place. The message is not over. What comes next is worth staying for, but take this breath first. Now there is one more thing I want you to notice about where you are in this moment. Something about the experience of having stayed through the length of this message that tells you something important about who you are. Most people who clicked on this video left within the first 3 minutes. That is not a judgment of those people. That is just the reality of how content consumption works in this era. The average person makes a decision about whether to keep watching within 90 seconds. The person who is still here, in the 5th part of a message that has been building for this long, is not an average person. They are the one the message was written for. They are the chosen one who has the staying power, who has the capacity to be in the long form of something without abandoning it for something shorter and easier. And that capacity, that staying power, is not separate from the qualities that have sustained you in the long season of waiting. It is the same quality, the same willingness to be in the long form of something without abandoning it before the completion arrives. You are the person this breakthrough is for, not because you are better than others, because you have proven, in the length of this message and in the length of your season, that you are the one who stays, and the ones who stay are the ones who receive. Comment below right now. Tell me you are still here. Just those words, still here, because I want to see the staying ones. I want to see the chosen ones who have been in this for the duration. And I want to make sure that what I am about to share in the final part of this message lands in the ears of every person who has earned the right to receive it by staying this long. You are almost at the sacred closing. Stay with me. Let me bring you something now that I have been building toward. A named concept that I want to give you as something you take with you beyond this video. Something that will function as a framework not just for June 29th and 30th, but for every prophetic moment that comes after this one. I call it the chosen echo. The chosen echo is the principle that states this. Every act of faithfulness in a long season of waiting creates a resonance in the spiritual and energetic realm that does not disappear. It accumulates, it builds, and at the moment of a generational window, everything that accumulated in the season of faithful waiting begins to resonate simultaneously. The echo of every prayer prayed in the long night. The echo of every act of integrity maintained when no one was watching. The echo of every moment you chose to believe when the evidence told you to give up. All of those echoes sound at once in the open frequency of the prophetic window. And the sound they make together is the signal that calls the breakthrough into manifestation. You have been building echoes. Every chosen one in a long season of waiting has been building echoes. And on June 29th and 30th, those echoes are going to ring, not silently, not privately, in ways that produce visible results in the physical world, in ways that people around you are going to notice and ask about, in ways that are going to become part of the testimony you tell about this season for the rest of your life. The chosen echo is yours. It was built by you in the season you thought nothing was happening. And it is about to sound. Comment below and drop the words, "The echo sounds," in the comments. Because your declaration is part of the echo. Because naming it before it sounds is an act of faith that adds resonance to what is already building. Now, there is something I want to say to the person in this room who is carrying something that feels too heavy to carry through another window, who has been faithful for so long that the faithfulness itself has become a burden, who is not questioning God so much as questioning their own capacity to keep going, who is at the edge of their strength, not dramatically, just quietly, in the way that chosen ones reach the edge without announcing it. I want to say this directly. Your faithfulness has not been unnoticed, not one act of it, not one prayer prayed in the pre-dawn hours when no one else was awake, not one sacrifice that was never acknowledged by the people around you, not one moment of choosing alignment when every natural instinct was toward self-protection. Heaven holds all of it. Heaven has been holding all of it. And the chosen echo you have been building is not a small, quiet thing. It is the accumulated resonance of years of genuine faithfulness in genuinely difficult conditions. And it is about to make a sound. Hold on, not through gritted teeth, through open hands. The way Elijah held on after the juniper tree, not by his own strength, but by the provision that arrived to sustain him for the journey ahead. You are not holding on alone. You have never been holding on alone. Ah, 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 ah. And what arrives on June 29th and 30th will make that clear to you in ways that your season of waiting could not. Comment below. Whatever you need to say in this moment, whatever has been inside you that has needed a safe place to land, say it here. Say it in the comments. Say it to the community that is watching alongside you, because this is the place where chosen ones speak the unspeakable, and the act of speaking it is part of the breakthrough. Now, let me give you something specific about the link between what we know neurologically and what you are experiencing spiritually in this moment. When a person has been in a long season of chronic stress, the brain produces a particular neurochemical profile: elevated cortisol, suppressed dopamine and serotonin in the circuits associated with reward and anticipation, a reduction in the activity of the prefrontal cortex, which is the seat of executive function, creativity, and what researchers call the default mode network, the part of the brain that generates insight and the spontaneous connections that most people experience as intuition or inspiration. In other words, the long season of waiting, the chronic stress of holding a prayer that has not yet been answered, literally changes the chemistry and the activity patterns of the brain in ways that reduce the capacity to receive the very thing that is being waited for. The longer you wait under stress, the harder it becomes to receive. Not because the spiritual connection is less real, but because the neurological receiver has been progressively impaired by the conditions of the waiting itself. This is the cruelest irony of the long season. The very experience of waiting erodes the capacity to receive what is being waited for, and most chosen ones have no tool for reversing that erosion other than more time and more prayer, which address the spiritual layer without addressing the neurological layer where the erosion has been occurring. Dr. Barone neural synchronization method addresses the neurological layer directly, not as a replacement for the spiritual practices that have sustained you, as the restoration of the receiver that allows those practices to produce the results they are spiritually capable of producing. The 8 minutes re-establishes the neurochemical baseline. The daily practice of neural synchronization reverses the erosion of the long waiting season, and the receiver that was compromised by the conditions of the wait is restored to the capacity it was designed for. This is not mysticism. This is the application of Nobel Prize-winning neuroscience to the specific situation of the chosen one who has been in the long season and whose receiver needs restoration before the generational window opens. The link is in the description. The link is in the pinned comment. Go there. Access the Genius Switch before June 29th. Give your receiver the restoration it has been needing for longer than you realized. And then come back. Because what we have for the final section of this message is the completion of everything we have built, the sacred closing that will carry you through the window and into the breakthrough that has your name on it. Comment below right now. One more time. Tell me you are still with me. Tell me you feel the weight of everything that has been transmitted in this message. Tell me you are ready for what comes next. Because what comes next is the most sacred part of what I have to give you today. We are going to the closing now, and the closing of this message is not an ending, it is ascending. It is the moment where everything we have built together in the length of this conversation becomes the energy you carry into June 29th and 30th, into the generational window, into the silent accumulation release, into the chosen echo that is about to sound. Stay with me for these final moments. They matter more than the ones that came before them. Before we reach the sacred closing, let me give you one more named concept that belongs in this part of the message, a concept I call the pattern of the prepared. Because I have been studying the lives of chosen ones who actually broke through in significant prophetic windows for long enough now that a consistent pattern has emerged. And I want to give you that pattern as a framework you can check yourself against before June 29th opens. The pattern of the prepared has 5 elements, not prerequisites that you must perform perfectly. Patterns that, when present in even partial form, correlate with breakthrough in a generational window. Element 1. The prepared chosen one has moved from asking when to asking what. from when is this going to happen to what am I supposed to be doing right now. The shift from chronological obsession to present moment obedience is one of the clearest indicators that a person is moving into the receiving position. Element 2. The prepared chosen one has released the specific path while holding the specific hope. They still know clearly what they are believing for, but they have stopped prescribing exactly how it must arrive. The expectation hold. Open hands around a specific hope. Element 3. The prepared chosen one has made peace with the long season, not passive acceptance that nothing will change. The specific kind of peace that comes from understanding that the season was preparation rather than punishment. That what happened in the underground was the development of what will emerge through the window. The Josephine peace, the Elijah after juniper peace. Element 4. The prepared chosen one has found at least one other person to stand with them in the specific hope, not as codependence, not as shared desperation, but as the 2 or 3 gathered in agreement that the sacred texts describe as the conditions for a specific kind of divine responsiveness. One person in your life who knows the specific thing you are believing for and who is standing with you in genuine expectation. Element 5. The prepared chosen one has a daily practice of receiver calibration, something they do every single day that restores the neurological baseline and positions the whole system to receive at its designed capacity, not as a magic ritual, as the faithful, consistent maintenance of the instrument. I want to ask you to assess yourself honestly against these 5 elements, not to condemn yourself for the ones that are not yet fully present, but to see clearly where you are and where the preparation is complete and where the preparation is still underway. And then I want to ask you to make a commitment to whatever element is most incomplete, to give it specific attention between now and June 29th. One deliberate action toward element 1 through 4. And for element 5, if you do not yet have the daily practice, to access it through the link in the description and in the pinned comment before the window opens. You have everything you need to walk into June 29th and 30th as a prepared chosen one, not a perfect one, a prepared one. And heaven responds to prepared hearts the same way it responded to Joseph on the morning of his generational window, with complete and total release of everything that had been accumulated and waiting. Comment below with which of the 5 elements you feel most complete in, and which one you need to give the most attention to before the window opens. Your self-knowledge in this moment is prophetically significant, because the chosen one who knows themselves clearly is the chosen one who can close the preparation gap with the most precision and the most speed. Now let me tell you the last thing I need to say before the sacred closing. The last piece of practical information, and then we are going to move into the experience of the closing together, and it is going to be unlike anything you have experienced in a message like this before. If you have not yet accessed this receiver calibration tool, I want to give you one final invitation to do so before we move to the sacred closing. The link is in the description and in the pinned comment. $39, 4 free bonuses, full money-back guarantee, lifetime access, built on Nobel Prize-winning neuroscience, developed by Dr. 3. Daniel Barone, a neurologist from New York City who spent decades creating the tool that finally addresses the receiver problem for chosen ones. 18,456 people are already using it. Lisa from California found her clarity. Matthew from Texas found his breakthrough. Ellie from Manhattan found her reconciliation. And thousands of others, ordinary chosen ones in extraordinary seasons of waiting, found that the receiver calibration made the difference between another season of almost and the season when it actually arrived. You can be in that number. You can be the one who looks back at June 28th, the day this message found you, as the day the trajectory changed. Not because this message changed your destiny was already written, but because this message gave you the tool that allowed you to receive what was already written for you. The link is there. The window is right there. The choice is yours. And now, we are going to close this message together. We are in the sacred closing. And I want you to feel what that means, not as a signal that this message is ending, as a signal that what was transmitted in this message is about to be sealed, about to be sent, about to become the energy you carry into June 29th and 30th as a prepared, positioned, receiver-calibrated chosen one who is about to walk through the most significant window of this entire season. The sacred closing has 4 movements, and I am going to walk you through each one with the full weight of everything we built together in this message behind it. The first movement is the grateful pause. Before we release anything forward, we pause to acknowledge what we received in this message, not performatively, not as spiritual courtesy, as genuine recognition of what arrived. You received a framework for understanding why the breakthrough has been delayed that removes the false conclusion that you are the problem. The false calendar, the distraction deployment, the threshold effect, the receiver problem, the alignment principle, the generational window, the silent accumulation, the chosen echo, the pattern of the prepared. These are not just conceptual teachings, they are tools, living tools that will work in you long after this message ends. You received the names Joseph and Elijah not as historical characters but as mirrors, as chosen ones who walked the exact path you are walking and who arrived at the exact breakthrough you are approaching. And their stories carry a promise that is not metaphorical. What their faithfulness produced, your faithfulness is also producing. What their generational window released, your generational window is also authorized to release. You received a community. Every person who dropped a comment in this message, every chosen one who typed, "I am ready," or "threshold moment," or "the echo sounds," is part of the same transmission, is walking into the same window, is carrying the same accumulated faithfulness into the same open heaven. You are not alone in this. You have never been alone in this. And the community you found in the comments of this video is the community of the window. And you received an invitation, a specific, practical, neurologically grounded invitation to calibrate your receiver before the window opens, to access the faith and reception. The link is still there. It will be there after this message ends, and the chosen ones who act on it will walk into June 29th and 30th with a specific advantage that the rest of the world does not have access to. Take a breath of gratitude for all of it. Not because it was deserved, because it was given, and because the recognition of gift is the beginning of the multiplication of gift. Now the second movement, the release act. There is something you need to release before you walk into June 29th and 30th, not because releasing it is a spiritual requirement for breakthrough, but because releasing it removes the last obstacle between you and the full receiving that this window carries for you. For most chosen ones, the thing that needs releasing is a specific version of the outcome, the particular way they have imagined, the breakthrough arriving, the specific person they have been waiting to hear from, the specific path through which the financial shift was supposed to come, the specific timeline on which the healing was supposed to manifest. The release act is this. In this moment, with whatever internal capacity you have available, release the specific version, not the hope itself, not the promise itself, not the faith that the breakthrough is real. Just the version, the prescription of exactly how it must arrive. Open the hands that have been holding the how while they were also trying to hold the what. and let the how go. Heaven has a version that is better than yours, not different from the core of what you have been praying for, but more perfect in its specific expression, more comprehensive in what it addresses, more beautiful in its timing and its method than the version you had imagined, and the version that heaven has prepared cannot arrive through the door of a closed prescription. It requires the open door of a released how. Release it now. With the breath, with the exhale, with the deliberate, conscious act of trusting that what God has prepared is enough, that the version heaven has authorized is more than the version you imagined, that the open hands receive more than the closed ones ever could. Release. Let the exhale carry it, and now receive. With the inhale, receive the space that the release created, the open field of possibility that exists in a spirit that has stopped prescribing and started receiving. This is the posture of the chosen one on the threshold of the generational window. This is the position from which June 29th and 30th become the days that change everything. Comment below right now. Tell me what you released in that exhale. Name it for the community, because what you named with your faith was released, and what is released is replaced by what was prepared for you in its place. Now the third movement, the declaration peak. This is where the message arrives at its highest frequency. This is the moment where you speak into your window, not to convince God of anything he does not already know, but to align your voice with what your faith is already holding, to bring your declaration into coherence with the divine decree that has already been issued over your life. I am going to give you a declaration to speak aloud, not as a formula, as an act of chosen one authority. Speak it with me now, if you are in a space where speaking is possible. And if speaking aloud is not possible right now, speak it internally with the same full-body conviction. Here is the declaration. I am a chosen one. I was chosen before I was formed. The purpose placed in me before I had language for it is still active, still valid, still moving toward its completion. The long season was not a delay. It was preparation, and the preparation is complete. I enter June 29th and 30th as a prepared receiver. My instrument has been calibrated. My alignment is active. My hands are open. And what has been accumulated in the underground season of my faithfulness is authorized to emerge fully, completely, in the timing and the method that heaven prepared for me before the foundation of the world. I do not walk into this window alone. I walk with a community of chosen ones who recognized each other in this message. I walk with the evidence of those who went before me and broke through. I walk with the provision that was sent before I knew I needed it. The breakthrough is mine, not because I earned it, because it was written. And I receive it now, with open hands, with a calibrated receiver, with the full weight of everything I held in faith through the long season of waiting, pressing me forward into the window that is now open before me. I am the chosen one, and this is my moment. Speak that again if you can. Speak it louder than the first time, not to convince yourself, because repetition deepens the neurological encoding of the declaration, because the brain that hears the same truth twice in a row begins to accept it as real, because the receiver that declares what it is expecting to receive becomes better tuned to recognize it when it arrives. You are the chosen one. This is your moment, and June 29th and 30th are about to prove that to you in ways that you will spend the rest of your life telling other people about. Comment below right now. Type, I receive it, in the comments. Let the declaration be sealed in this community. Let the chosen ones around you witness your receiving posture. Let heaven register the declaration of every person who types those words in the next few seconds. I receive it. Go. Type it now. Now, the fourth and final movement. The quiet seal. After the peak, after the declaration, after the full-body frequency of a chosen one speaking with authority into their window, there comes something that is easy to skip, but must not be skipped. The quiet seal. The quiet seal is the moment of sacred stillness that follows the declaration. The moment where you stop speaking and simply be, where you allow what was just declared to settle into the deepest layers of your system, where the receiver that has been calibrated and the faith that has been expressed and the hope that has been declared are given the gift of silence to land in. Silence now. Just for a moment. Not emptiness, fullness of a different kind, the fullness of a receiver that has received something real, the fullness of a chosen one who knows, in the way that Joseph knew when he walked out of the prison toward Pharaoh, that the moment they have been prepared for has arrived. Stay in that silence for as long as you can. Do not rush the next sentence. Do not rush the next moment. Let the seal set. Welcome back. You have just completed one of the most significant acts of prophetic preparation you have ever taken in advance of a divine window. Not because of the length of this message, not because of the frameworks and the teachings, because you stayed, because you engaged, because you chose to build with me through the full architecture of what this message was designed to do. And what it was designed to do is position you for the most significant 48 hours of this entire season. Now, I want to ask you to do 4 things before you close this video. First, if this message moved you, if it landed in you, if any part of what we built together today shifted something in your understanding or your posture or your expectation, I need you to hit the like button right now. Not for the algorithm. Because the chosen ones who come behind you, who are right now in the early part of the long season that you are about to exit, need to find this message. And the like button is what tells the platform to show it to them. Your like is an act of service to the chosen ones who are still finding their way to the window you are about to walk through. Hit the like button right now. Do it now. Then come back for what I still have to say. Second, share this video. I know sharing feels like a small thing, but I want to tell you about a specific kind of person you are going to think of in the next 10 seconds. Someone in your life who has been in the long season too. Someone who has been carrying the same kind of prayer you have been carrying. Someone who found your face today in their feed and thought about you when they saw you. That person needs this message. Not a version of it, this exact message. In this exact length, built the way it was built. Send it to them right now, before you close this video. Because the act of sending it to them is itself an act of alignment. It is the chosen one sharing what was given to them with another chosen one who needs it. And the act of giving what you received before you have even finished receiving it is one of the most powerful prophetic postures available to a human being. The person you are thinking of right now, you know who it is. Send it to them. Third, subscribe to this channel, not because I need the numbers, because what we are building here is a community of chosen ones who are in the long season and who are learning together in real time how to receive what has been prepared for them. The next message I release will be for the chosen ones who walked through June 29th and 30th and are now processing what they received. And you will want to be there for that. You will want the community of people who shared this window with you to still be around you when the window closes and the testimony begins. Subscribe and turn on notifications, because what comes after this message matters as much as what came before it. And fourth, stay in the comments, not just today, Come back to this video on June 29th and tell the community you are in the window. Come back on June 30th and tell them what you are feeling. Come back after June 30th and share the first signs of what shifted, because this comment section is a living record of what happens when chosen ones prepare together and walk through a generational window together and receive together. Your testimony is coming. And when it arrives, come back here and tell us. Let the community receive it with you. Let the echo of your breakthrough sound in the space where the declaration was made. Now I want to speak one more thing to you before I release you into June 29th and 30th. I have been doing this long enough to know that some of you watching this message are going to do everything right, and the window is going to feel quieter than you expected. June 29th is going to feel like a normal day. June 30th is going to feel like a normal day, and you are going to wonder if you were wrong to expect what you expected. I want to speak to that person right now, before it happens. The window does not always announce itself with the experience you expect. Sometimes the breakthrough arrives so naturally, so organically, so without the dramatic spiritual signature you were looking for, that you do not recognize it as breakthrough until you look back from a few weeks or a few months later. And from that vantage point, you see clearly that the shift that happened on June 29th or 30th was the beginning of everything that followed. But in the moment, it just felt like a quiet, ordinary day. Trust the framework. Trust the preparation. Trust the calibration. Trust the alignment. And do not disqualify the quiet days as evidence that nothing happened. The most significant spiritual movements in sacred history were quiet at first. The seed underground makes no sound. The root developing through the winter makes no sound. The preparation for what will eventually break the surface and produce extraordinary visible fruit is silent. Trust the silence and use the tool every day. 8 minutes, regardless of whether what you feel on June 29th and 30th matches your expectation. The neural synchronization is building a cumulative effect that grows more powerful with consistent use over time. The 8 minutes on the morning of June 29th matters. The 8 minutes on the morning of June 30th matters. And the 8 minutes on July 1st and every morning after that matters in ways that will only become fully visible when you look back from September and see what the consistent calibration produced. This is not a one-time event. This is the beginning of a daily practice that positions you not just for this window, but for every window that follows, every generational window of your life, every prophetic moment, every aligned convergence of divine timing and human readiness that comes after this one. The link is in the description. It is in the pinned comment. $39 for lifetime access, for the 4 bonuses, for the daily 8-minute practice that changes the receiver, for the tool that finally closes the gap between faith and reception. Get it today, use it tonight, and walk into June 29th as a chosen one whose receiver has already been calibrated and whose alignment is already active. Now I want to speak a blessing over you. Not as a performance, as the final act of this transmission, as the closing prayer of a message that was built for you and carried to you and received by you. In the last hours before the window opens, may you walk into June 29th with every one of your senses attuned to the movement of heaven over your specific life. May you see what has been in the hills, the chariots of fire that have been there all along, waiting for your eyes to be opened. May the silent accumulation of every faithful act you performed in the long season release with the fullness of everything it was meant to produce. May the chosen echo that has been building in the invisible realm sound across June 29th and 30th with a resonance that reverberates in every area of your life that has been waiting for it. May the clarity shift arrive with such precision that you know exactly what the next step is. May the connection activation bring the specific person or the specific opportunity or the specific door that you have been believing for. May the breakthrough release carry with it every promise that was spoken over you, every dream that was planted in you, every word of divine intention that was deposited in your spirit in the long season and has been waiting for this exact window to find its expression. May your receiver be fully open. May your alignment hold. May your hands stay open through the window and receive with the full capacity of a chosen one who has been prepared. And when the testimony comes, when you look back and see what shifted in those 2 days and in the weeks and months that follow, I want you to share it here in the comments, in the space where the declaration was made, because your testimony is not just yours. It is the evidence that the framework is real, that the window was open, that the chosen ones who prepared and positioned themselves received what was prepared for them. The testimony is coming, and we are going to celebrate it together when it arrives. One more thing. To the person who watched this entire message and still is not sure whether to take this step, who is standing at the threshold of the decision, the way the chosen one stands at the threshold of the window? I want to say this one more time, as clearly as I can say it. The guarantee is real. The science is real. The 18,456 people who have already experienced the receiver calibration are real. Lisa is real. Matthew is real. Ellie is real. The Nobel Prize research that grounds this is real. Dr. Daniel Barone is real. The 8 minutes is real. The only thing that is not yet real is your experience of it. And that is the one thing you can change today, right now, before June 29th opens. The link is in the description. The link is in the pinned comment. Go there now. And when you come back from that link, come back to this comment section and drop one word, any word. The word that describes what you feel as a chosen one who has just positioned themselves for the most significant prophetic window of this season. I will be reading every one. I love you, chosen ones. Every single one of you who stayed through the full length of this message. Every one of you who dropped a comment. Every one of you who declared and released and received. Every one of you who is going to walk into June 29th and 30th with your receiver calibrated and your alignment active and your hands open. This is your moment. The window is open. Walk through it, God said, June 29th and 30th. And you heard, and you came, and you stayed, and you were prepared. Now go receive what was written for you before the foundation of the world. The window is open. Walk through it. Now, before I let you go entirely, I want to do something I promised when I began this message. I want to speak to the specific reality of what June 29th and 30th look like, not as abstract prophetic dates, but as 24-hour periods that you will actually live through. Because the theology of breakthrough and the practical experience of breakthrough do not always look identical. And I want to prepare you for the specific texture of what walking through a generational window feels like from the inside. On June 29th, you are going to wake up. And the morning is going to feel like a morning, not a trumpet blast, not a divine light pouring through the window, a morning. Your body will feel what your body always feels when it wakes up. There will be things on your mind, tasks for the day, concerns that did not resolve themselves overnight. The ordinary architecture of a human morning, and in that ordinary morning, the most powerful thing you can do is the 8 minutes before anything else, before the phone, before the news, before the demands of the day establish their claim on your attention. 8 minutes of neural synchronization to set the receiver for what the day is carrying. 8 minutes to establish the baseline of whole brain activation that allows the prophetic signal of June 29th to be decoded by a receiver that is actually calibrated to receive it. This is the discipline of the prepared chosen one, not the dramatic spiritual performance. The quiet, consistent, daily practice of maintaining the receiver in the condition that allows breakthrough to be received. After the 8 minutes, you go about your day. You do not spend June 29th in a state of spiritual intensity that separates you from your life. You engage with your life. You work your work. You speak to the people around you. You respond to what the day brings, but you do it from the baseline of a calibrated receiver, from the baseline of a synchronized brain, from the baseline of a chosen one who entered the day intentionally rather than reactively. And throughout the day, you practice the 3 chosen ones practices that I want to give you now as your specific assignment for June 29th and 30th. Practice 1. Notice everything, not with anxious scrutiny, with soft, receptive attention. The conversation that seems to come out of nowhere, the idea that arrives unbidden, the memory of a person you had forgotten who suddenly surfaces, the impulse to reach out to someone, the door that appears in a situation that seemed to have no doors. Notice everything, because the generational window delivers its provision through the ordinary channels of daily life, and the calibrated receiver is what allows you to recognize the divine when it arrives disguised as the ordinary. Practice 2. Act on what arrives. The chosen one who receives guidance and does not act on it loses the momentum of the window. Divine timing is not passive. It is the synchronization of divine initiative with human responsiveness. When the idea comes, write it down. When the impulse to reach out arrives, reach out. When the door appears, take the step toward it, not recklessly. With the confidence of a prepared receiver, acting on a clear signal. Practice 3. Record it. Keep a simple record during June 29th and 30th of every moment that felt significant, every shift in your inner state, every external movement that felt connected to what you were believing for, every moment of clarity, every connection, every unexpected door. The record is not just for your own documentation, it is the raw material of the testimony that is coming. And when you come back to the comments on June 30th and after, you will have specific things to share. Real moments, real movements, real evidence that the window was open and you walked through it receiving. Comment below right now and tell me you have your 3 practices. Tell me you are ready for June 29th. Tell me you are going to do the 8 minutes before anything else tomorrow morning, and you are going to notice and act and record everything the window delivers. I want to count how many chosen ones are walking into this window together with these 3 practices active, because the number matters. Because the community of prepared chosen ones who are entering this generational window together is itself a prophetic reality, a corporate alignment that amplifies what is available for each individual member of the community. When 2 or 3 gather in agreement, there is a specific kind of divine responsiveness that is described in the sacred texts as distinct from individual prayer alone. Imagine what happens when thousands of chosen ones are entering the same window with the same preparation and the same practices and the same calibrated receivers and the same open hands. The corporate resonance of that aligned community is something that no individual practice alone can produce. This is why your comment matters, not just for your own encouragement, for the amplification of the corporate field of alignment that this community is generating together in preparation for June 29th and 30th. You are not just an individual chosen one preparing for an individual breakthrough. You are part of a corporate movement of chosen ones who found each other in this specific message on this specific date. And what you bring to the window is amplified by what they bring, and what they bring is amplified by what you bring. The chosen ones are gathering. The window is opening, and what is available for this gathered community of prepared, aligned, receiver-calibrated chosen ones is something that no individual prayer life could access alone. This is the final truth I want you to carry into June 29th and 30th. You are not going in alone, you are going in with your community, with your 8 minutes, with your prophetic positioning framework, with your 3 practices, with your chosen echo resonating, with your silent accumulation ready to release. And you are going in with the guarantee that every act of faithfulness you performed in the long underground season was not wasted, was not unnoticed, was not random, was preparing the exact breakthrough that is authorized for this exact window, for this exact chosen one. That is you. The link for the Genius Switch is in the description and in the pinned comment. Get it before you sleep tonight. Use it first thing on June 29th morning and come back here to tell me what you received. I am going to be watching, I am going to be reading, and I am going to be celebrating with you when the testimony arrives. God said June 29th and 30th. You heard, you came, you stayed, you prepared. Now receive. The seal is set, the transmission is complete, and the chosen one who received this message is ready for the window. Walk through it in peace. Walk through it with open hands. Walk through it with your receiver calibrated and your alignment active. Walk through it knowing that everything you carried in the long season has been preparing you for exactly this. The window is open. Go. And to the one who is still sitting with the question of whether to take this step, I want to give you one final thing, not persuasion, evidence. Think about every significant shift in your life, whether it was in your career, or your relationships, or your health, or your understanding of yourself. Think about the moment when the shift began. Was it ever the result of waiting for perfect certainty before acting? Or was it always the result of a decision made in the gap between knowing and not yet seeing? A decision made with enough conviction to move, but without the luxury of complete foreknowledge about the outcome. The faith step always comes before the confirmed result. Always, without exception, in every story in the sacred record, in every testimony of genuine breakthrough. The choosing to act in the direction of the promised reality comes before the evidence that the promised reality is already in motion. And the evidence follows the act, not the other way around. The Genius Switch is a faith step of $39 with a full money-back guarantee. It is a faith step with no downside risk, which means it is not even really a faith step in the traditional sense. It is a faith step with a safety net that eliminates the financial risk entirely. If it does not work as described, the money comes back. If it works as described, your receiver is calibrated before the generational window opens. There is no version of this decision where you lose. The only version where you lose is the version where you do not take it, and the window passes, and the receiver that could have been calibrated was not. Go to the description, find the link, click it, and join the 18,456 chosen ones who are already on the other side of the decision you are standing in front of. The window is opening, the provision is there, the community is gathered, the declaration has been made, and the chosen one who moves is the chosen one who receives. Move. Comment below one last time. Whatever word comes, whatever the Spirit brings, whatever is alive in you in this moment, after the full transmission of this message. Drop it in the comments and let it be your seal on this day. Let it be your record that you were here. that you received, that you prepared.